cute. Check. Have you ever had a dream in the daytime? Had the same dream since the playground. If you made it come true, cause you stay down. Nigga, have you ever really thought about the limelight? In a room full of stars when you shine bright. I'ma make the right move when the time right. Alright. Nigga, have you ever had a dream during the daytime? Had the same dream since the playground. If you made it come true, cause you stay down. Nigga, have you ever really thought about the limelight? In the room full of stars when you shine bright. I'ma make the right move when the time right. Calculated every step, so I can't stand a hater out here hating.
Could we take a commercial break?
Think you on mute, man.
Yeah, talking to myself like a damn fool. But welcome. Thank y'all for coming out. This is gonna be very impactful. You know, one of the things I will say, there's a lot of things in the news, a lot of weird things in the news, positive things in the news, but there's some other things that in this hip hop conversation that's coming up. This is the part 2 of our presentation series. First part of our series was Dr. Derek Cologne. This is the second episode of our presentation series. We have another interview series, but this is where we're going to kind of get educated so we can form better opinions on these conversations. I know everybody saw Lord Jamar in that conversation. We're going to talk about that for a little bit. But first, I'm going to get into my brother Hits. What's going on, brother?
What's up, man? Busy day. What's up, Truth?
Hey,
how you doing, bro?
Hits? How you doing, brother?
I'm good. Peace to the chat. Thank y'all for stopping through. Yeah, hot topic everywhere. So we're trying to give everybody a fair chance to speak their piece and share their knowledge. I'm sure everyone is going to learn something. That's what's most important, is that we all are going to learn something that we didn't know, whether we like it or not. We may learn something, and that's, you know, that's what's most important, and that's what TMI is here for. You know, to share our platform with people who have something meaningful to say, especially about current events. That's it.
Before we get into True Savior, I want to shout out the chat. We got Absolute 72 in the building. He was actually first. He was here. He's been here since 6:30. That is wild. So,
Absolute gets a gold star.
Yeah. Matter of fact, we're gonna make you you might get a mod for that. We're gonna see how you conduct yourself today. Where my mods at? China Black in the building. Moses Mahomes in the building. T Cavi, Rio Solid. Love to y'all. JG in the building. Don Diego in the building. He says, Don Diego says, debunk the Latin breakdown and the myth of a Latin influence in Black American music. Okay, so I think a lot of these people, you were literally, before I'm gonna introduce you now. What's up, Pure Black? You were literally, when we did this first show, we've been on this hip hop journey on this channel for about a month now. And when we did our first show, it was the biggest show we ever did. Didn't even know. We just started the show like any other show, just to have a good conversation, good discourse, get some different perspectives on things. And a crazy thing happened. We had people that we didn't know were central to these conversations come into the chat. We had people that we didn't know that were central to these conversations come on the panel. That is our biggest show, our most commented show. It's still getting views. When we closed, it was at 2,000. I think it's at like 6,000 now. And you came on the panel, and then afterwards, during the show, because it was like 200 something people in the chat, and I said, let me ask a question. Who do y'all want to see? For obviously this has a big pull. Who do you want to see? Brother, when I tell you the first 20 clicks were True Savior. The first 20. And I remember what you said to me. You sunned me, right? And I appreciate it. Coming from Jersey, you can always understand what that means. You sunned me first. And it's one thing in Jersey, we don't get upset when our elders kind of, hey, relax, young man. You don't be in such a rush. Because you were telling me, yeah, I'm not coming on the panel tonight. I want to see what y'all about. I want to see what y'all trying to do, see where y'all going. And I didn't know what you meant until I started doing my research, and I realized that, yeah, it does get a little toxic in conversation. So that's why we're trying to keep it clean. But without further ado, we got True Savior in the building, man. We got True Savior in the building. I'm gonna put you on the Summer Jam screen for a little while. I'm gonna ask you some questions. I have a lot of questions. Put your questions in the chat. Go ahead, brother. Melanated Warrior in the building. What's going on? Logic's in the chat for some reason.
Yeah, I definitely want Logic up here.
Yeah. I guess
Logic don't want no part of this stuff. He don't want no part of this.
I think Logic might be a little afraid, but Logic is our resident anti. He has his own beliefs. Yeah, he's an antagonist, but I love it because it's not fake.
Right.
He's antagonizing from a place of not always like hate. I mean, he gets killed in our comments, but he don't care about that. The thing is that he's trying to get to. He's on a journey. He's trying to get to the root of this thing. And as you read, like Truth, as you read, some things will take you one way, another thing will take you another way. Some things take you, and then you got to kind of discern there. But enough about us. True Savior in the building. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, you know what? I'm not a guy with a lot of credentials or advanced degrees. I'm a college educated guy, graduated from college, but in terms of did I write books? No. I'm a musician. Did I record music and went to the top 100? No, I did none of that. I'm a local musician, church musician, also do some jazz in the Pennsylvania and New Jersey area, as well as R&B. So I come from a musical background. That's where my interests mostly lie. Now,
Okay.
How did I get caught up in hip hop, in this discussion of hip hop? Now, for context, when Rappers Delight came out, I'm 19 years old. For me, Rappers Delight was a fad to me, because I grew up at a period when music was, not to shame what the music is today, but I grew up in a period when music was music. When you had the groups, the OJs and the Delphonics, the Shylights, the Stylistics, groups like that. That's the era that I grew up in, And so when I first heard Rappers Delight, although I liked it, but I just didn't think that it had any staying power.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not coming here as a hip hop expert because I never was into hip hop that way. However, when the question became this 50-50 issue arose, and me understanding the origin or the foundation of hip hop and culture, or hip hop, and where it comes from, is clearly Black American culture. So that offended me when I heard Fat Joe say that. And so I felt like, you know what, coming from a musician point of view, since hip hop is a form of music, let me speak to that. And then so I would search the internet, and then I came across our good friend, Dr. Cologne. And so now, in all fairness for Dr. Cologne, it's not about a hit piece on Dr. Cologne, because I'm not going to do that. But when I first heard of Dr. Cologne, he came across as a very nice guy. And actually, he said hip hop was created by Black Americans, but Puerto Ricans assisted or helped out. That was his position back then. but that's like over 2 years ago. But that clearly that has shifted. Now it's become a particular situation where basically Black Americans are the third element of hip hop now, because the way he frames the narrative is that the DJ culture is Caribbean, the B-boy culture is Latino, and the rapping or MC culture is African Americans. And the MC culture came later. So that means that we are the third element. We are the last element of hip hop. So basically, he says the foundation of hip hop culture is the MCs and the dance, not the MCs, is the DJs and the breakdancers.
Okay.
So that means that we come last. So how insulting is that to say that Black Americans come last in the evolution of hip hop? And so everything that he speaks to is tailored to the narrative that 1975 is the beginning of hip hop. Miraculously, hip hop just came out of nowhere in 1975. One date, 1 month in 1975, hip hop appeared.
Okay.
And there's no mentioning of evolution process that points to its origins coming from people like him. And I feel like as a historian, how do you talk about something and not deal with the historical perspective of it? And so the reason why I feel that this is the case, he wants to substantiate that Black American culture has nothing. He actually said this. Black American culture has nothing, and I stress that word, nothing to do with hip hop.
Wait, say that again?
He says, and I stress this word, nothing. Hip hop has nothing to do with Black American culture. Now, how disrespectful is that? And he sincerely believes that. And this is what he's telling his followers, that hip hop doesn't come from Black American culture. It comes from, according to him, street, Bronx, or New York culture. Now, we will all agree that bricks, asphalt, masonry have no culture. Mm-hmm. They're not living things. So what we ultimately talking about, we're talking about people. So let's, for the sake of argument, say, okay, it comes from the people in the Bronx, the individual in the Bronx that's made up of a multicultural group of people, right?
Okay.
Let's imagine that that's the case. Each of those individual groups of people have a culture. Whether you talk about Nuyorican culture, mm-hmm. Black American culture, European culture, Asian culture, they're all Americans, but they all have their distinct cultures. So when I pose the question to Dr. Cologne, well, can you tell me out of these Bronx kids, which of these groups contribute what to what that made hip hop? You know what his answer was, if you don't remember? He says, no one cared about the music.
No, I remember that answer.
No one cared about the vernacular. So you're dismissing an obvious contributor to the culture.
Okay.
And you're conveniently doing that because you do not want to acknowledge where it comes from. Because if you investigate it and you ask those hard questions, right, it clearly points to Black American culture. And so this is why I know that it's a purposeful thing that he's doing to try to erase us. He says he doesn't want to erase us, but when you say, I don't care, no one cared about the music, no one cared about the vernacular, then you are erasing us. That's clear as day. Now, here's another thing that people don't, and I don't want to run on, but let me just say this.
No, go ahead, it's your show.
There's another thing that people don't recognize. If you weren't born in the early 60s, you may not remember this period. There was a period of called Black exploitation movies from 71 to 76. We got to remember, out of all the minority groups in the inner city, Black culture was the predominant culture. There was nowhere you could go in the inner cities, anywhere in the country, and from 71 to 76, and not see a Black exploitation movie. Some might say, well, some might say, oh, well, it's kind of negative, but it was a lot of positive. You got to see Black culture on display, good or bad. It was the dominant culture at the time. A lot of people took inspiration from it. Let's speak of Slick Rick. He's from England. He speaks of the impact of these movies that had on him because he saw Black people strong, defying the man, as it were. You know what I'm saying? So these movies had an impact, and these movies left a mark in the inner cities of every city. This is where you get to see the vernacular displayed. This is where people learn how Black people speak from these movies. Not only from that, you also have TV shows in the early 70s, like Good Times and What's Happening, What's Happening, Stanford and Son. All these shows that focus on Black people displaying aspects of Black culture. Name any other group, minority group, that had that kind of impact in any city during that period of time. And I would have to say none. Let's not forget the impact Soul Train had on everybody around the country. You get to see Black dance. Think about the way Don Cornelius spoke when he introduced a celebrity or entertainer, how he ended his programming, all the flavor and the suave of Black American culture.
Yeah, he was a cool joker.
The impact that had on the world. People consumed that. We were generating the culture that people gravitated to. So when you talk about what was going on in New York, that's all part of that. No one was feeling Latino culture because it wasn't a predominant culture. And so we have to really take all of that into consideration as to what was the dominant culture at the time, not only in New York City, but in any major city in the country. It was Black American culture. Some people would say, well, hip hop is a regional thing. It's a New York thing. It's Black people outside of New York have no right to claim it. And Dr. Cologne would say, if every Black American don't deal with hip hop, they can't say it's Black American culture. Let that sink in.
Say that one more time.
If you as a Black American don't DJ, don't break dance, don't do none of that. Hip hop is not Black American culture because not every Black American does it. Imagine that. You're trying to tell me that you're not trying to take away from Black people when you make statements like that. So all of this is very offensive to me. And I'm sure a lot of my supporters and listeners who listen to me, we find that offensive because we know as Black Americans, we know what our culture is. We have no problem identifying what our culture is. So let me stop there. Maybe you have questions. I could go on a little bit. I don't want to keep going on. Maybe you have some questions you want to ask, and then maybe they'll tie me into something else I could speak to.
Okay, Hits, you got any questions? I definitely have a list of questions, but do you have any questions at all?
I'm waiting for the presentation, right? And then some questions.
No.
Okay. So we just gonna
the
ask
way we're gonna do it is like we're gonna ask questions, kind of lead the conversation, follow it where it goes, and then towards the end, open it up to the chat, let them ask some questions. Shouts to the chat, 60 people just watching knowledge and not a lot of drama and mess and stuff like that. I appreciate that. I appreciate y'all for coming out. Before I get into
he gave us some of his background. Okay, go ahead. Before you get to the questions. Go ahead.
Well, let me say this. Let me tell you what I do in terms of, like I said, I wasn't there in the Bronx, so I can't speak to everything in the Bronx. However, there are things that you can look up, things that you can read, things that you can verify. So when a person says, for example, I'll give you an example. If a person says Charlie Chase was a hip hop DJ in '75, you could do the research and determine whether or not that's true. Now, let's define what a hip hop DJ is. For many, a hip hop DJ is one who played break beats, either for b-boys or for rappers.
Okay.
That is for many people, that's the definition of a hip hop DJ. Okay. So if someone will propose that Charlie Chase was a hip hop DJ in '75, you could find information that doesn't make that claim, that doesn't support that claim. Because I found 2 interviews by Charlie Chase, and well, actually, I found 3 interviews by Charlie Chase. 2 are of him speaking, and 1 is a print media. And all 3 of them, they say that when he went to the Monterey Rec Room, he heard this music that he kind of heard before, but not played in the way that he heard it then. And it could because the brothers were playing break beats. And he said one song that stuck out was Trans Europe Express. So when you look up when Trans Europe Express came out, it's 1977. So when someone offers the claim or suggests the claim that Charlie Chase was a hip hop DJ in 75, clearly that's not true, because you can't refute the date a record came out. You can't refute that. Again, here's another example. Let's take Flash, for example.
Okay.
Some people bicker about when did Flash come out with the quick mix theory. All right. So you do your research and you find a few sources that says, let's say for, what's his name? I'm just trying to lose my thought. Kumo D.
Okay.
In 1978 at the Audubon Ballroom. He says that's the first time he heard it in 1978, the quick mix theory, right? You have Melly Mel saying the same thing. You have his partner, Easy Mike, saying that one day Flash woke him up and said, listen to this thing. And the song that he was cutting was Hot Shot. When did Hot Shot come out? 1978. So when people
so towards the end of the decade. Okay,
right,
towards the end of the decade. Okay.
So when people say, and also Melly Mel said the same thing, Hot Shot. He mentions that song as well, Hot Shot. So this kind of pinpoints, okay, this is when it really happened. It wasn't 75, it wasn't 72, so this is the kind of research that I do. So I could kind of pinpoint the dates by finding other sources of material that backs up or substantiate what I'm saying or claiming. So, so I just want to bring that out in terms of dates and how I come to my conclusions about what happened and what happened at what point in time, So
okay, so I did a deep dive into some of your shows and your content. So I'm going to ask some controversial questions. We're going to get it real spicy, real early. I'll put it on the screen. You said live, you're making me dizzy. Thank you. The Latino culture has nothing to do with gospel, jazz, soul, neo
Put
soul.
the guest on the big screen, man. Put the guest on the big screen, man.
When I ask the question, I'm gonna put him on the big screen. That way,
you're gonna do
way
production too. Okay, I'm just checking, y'all.
Yeah. I got you.
Production.
I think he's enjoyed the. They like to see us too for a hot second. Then go get our ugly selves out of here. I know, get our ugly selves out of here as soon as possible. But
they want the information.
Exactly. You said, and I thought this was a controversial statement. So you said that Dr. Cologne. Now, first off, shouts to Dr. Cologne. This is not a hit piece. He gave a great presentation last week. But you two are kind of adversaries.
Yes, we are.
And you guys have a lot of information going back and forth. So his name will come up, but it's not going to come up negatively from us. He gave us a great presentation. He was our first presentation, so respect to him. And we kind of, we want to do media, but not biasly. So you said that he stated that Black culture has nothing to do with hip hop. So just so I'm not rephrasing it. You're saying that he said that.
Yes.
Now, I also watched one of your videos where you said that Latino culture has nothing to do with gospel, jazz, soul, neo soul, house, or disco. Take some time and present your case and defend that, because I listened to you when you said it, but it was kind of like a fast video and you moved to something else. But I'd like to hear how you would classify that. Well,
it's simple, because as a musician, I know I have a good handle on music, and so if you're telling me that, the question would have to be asked, what kind of Latin music? And I can't think of any Latin music that I could say influence jazz, gospel, blues, whatever, rock and roll. I can't think of not one. Now, some people, that leads me to this thing. Some people will point to the influx of, they'll point to New Orleans. They'll say, okay, New Orleans was basically a Caribbean city in the United States. So
Okay.
you had a Caribbean culture in a sense there. So certainly it lends itself to the conception of jazz. I'm going to push back on that. There's a thing that Jelly Roll Morton speaks to. He calls the Spanish tinge. And here's what happens when I'm not using this word to pick fun at Dr. Clone, but what colonizers like to do, this is not directed, this is in general, what colonizers like to do, they like to take something that they discover and rename it. All right. So the Spanish tinge has nothing to do with Spain.
Okay.
Has nothing to do with Latin culture. It's just a term that was utilized. It's basically it's a rhythmic application to music. It's the way you play music or apply a music, but it's not related to any melody or folk music to any European or Latin country. So it's a misnomer. And so when people hear Spanish tinge or Latin tinge, they say, oh my God, there we go. That's the connection.
Okay.
That's our connection to jazz. But it's not so. It's not so. This brings me to my next point. There's a Afro-Cuban rhythm that's called the clave rhythm, which is a 3-2 or a 2-3 rhythm.
Okay.
Ba,
Okay.
ba, 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 right. So when Dr. Cologne would suggest that, okay, whenever you hear that music and our music as Black Americans, that means that Cubans or Latino culture brought that to you guys. But what Dr. Cologne fails to or doesn't know, and I kind of showed them that in the debate where I spelled out that these rhythms, first of all, we got to remember, we're descendants of Africans too. And although the drums were taken away from us in 1740, the rhythm still lived on. And the proof of that is the song Hambone. You know, everybody heard of Hambone, have you heard? When you hear that rhythm, that's a 3-2 rhythm. That's the same rhythm that you would hear in Cuba. And if you look at Bo Diddley, anybody know who Bo Diddley is? He's one of the premier African-American, the beginning of rock and roll. He's one of the first.
Okay.
His song is based off of that 3-2 rhythm. A lot of his music is based on that 3-2. That is not influenced from Afro-Cubans. So Dr. Clone wants to suggest that anytime you hear this 3-2 rhythm, it comes from Cuba without any proof whatsoever. And that brings me to discussing, I'm going off because it's helping me lead me to something else here.
Okay.
The fictitious Latin breakdown. Now, as you know, we've been back and forth for over 2 years. And the whole thing, the conversation has always been, well, you guys, from us, you guys are not foundational. Black Americans are foundational. So after hearing that for so long, he decided, okay, let me find a way we could say that we're foundational. So he came up with this term called Latin breakdown. And he used this word called descarga. It's a Latin term or a Spanish term that means jam session. But
okay,
it patterns itself after American jazz jam session, but it's done to Cuban music. We have to remember there's a history of African Americans going to Cuba, performing, and vice versa for up until 1959. There was this back and forth going on. And so he wants to say that this word descarga is what we hear in our music. For example, let me give you an example. He speaks to the B-boy anthems. He talk about songs like Just Begun, Mexican or whatever, all these songs, Apache. And he says, whenever you hear bongos or congas in these songs, that's our influence. That's what he's saying. And it's not true. And so what he does, he tries to link it to a period in America called the Mambo period, which took place in 1940 and into the 50s. And this is where this is the birth of Latin jazz. All right. And
Okay.
so he's saying that there was this mixing, because at the time there were Black musicians who would participate in some of these venues where these Latino musicians were, and vice versa. So he's saying because of that coming together and exchanging, Black Americans learned about these instruments.
Mm-hmm.
So he's trying to prove this link from Cuban culture, not Puerto Rican culture, Cuban culture, that led us, that showed itself in the 70s in these b-boy anthems. And the reason why he wants to do that, because the majority of the percussionists in these b-boy anthems are African American. They're not Latino. So how do you explain this African American presence on these instruments if they don't come from Cuba? And so what I did, I presented an idea that's more believable. And in the late 1960s, there was the Pan-African movement. We were talking about the Civil Rights Movement. There was also a Pan-Africanist movement. There was the Black Power movement, the Black Arts movement. All of these things, the Last Poets, all of these things that were going on in the late 60s and early 70s that spoke to Africa. And this is where a lot of these drums were introduced to the Black community. I remember, I'm old enough to remember dance troupes coming to the community, performing. African dancers and drummers. You know what I'm saying? And this, and for me, this is the influence. It wasn't Latin culture, because in 1959, the Cuban embargo was instituted, and there was no back and forth of Cubans and Black and Americans any longer. So this is so when he talks about this Latin breakdown or this influence of Latin music in our music, it's a false narrative. It's nothing that he can present supports it. And it's just a way of what we always say, crowbarring his way into the culture of hip hop, or to the foundation of hip hop. Now, I said a lot. And so if there's something you want me to clarify, I don't know if I answered that question at all, but
No. You answered it. It's just, the reason why I asked is because it seems a little difficult to, in this conversation, where it's taking me is, I won't lie. In the beginning, when we first started talking about this, I was looking at the demographics, the political times, at the beginnings, in 1970, in the Bronx in New York City. And before I got all this information, I'm trying to form my own perspective. And here to tell you, we've had private conversations where, when we came into this, I was telling them, there's no way that you can possibly remove Latinos from the beginning of hip hop. And as I've heard these shows, as I've gotten the information, as I've gotten more things, it's shaping my perspective. And then I'll read something else that'll take me in another direction. See, like Logic is good for, that's how he's going to come up in a little bit. He's good for kind of challenging perspectives and making it not so just clean cut to just say, because see, I'm coming in as a novice. I'm an 80s baby. So I'm not, I don't know anything about what was going on in the 70s. So I'm coming in blind. And that's why I appreciate you. I appreciate people that present information, people that any perspective, so that I can go and then look that up. So in one of my conversations, and one of the things that I was reading, we have great conversations in the Discord. The Discord link is pinned. Y'all join up. They were telling me about Jimmy Castor.
Right.
And see, we have this running joke. Hits is our tech guy. So we have this running joke about ChatGPT. And he'll tell me, ChatGPT is a tool, use it. I'm a person that's like, it makes a lot of mistakes. So I'm always a little careful about using it, this, that, and the third, right? So Jimmy Castor is sometimes credited with being at the origins of hip hop, or being at the beginnings of it, and used kind of as an example. I've read it in about 4 or 5 different places. What do you say to, first, maybe you want to educate everybody as to who Jimmy Castor is, and then what do you say to people that will say, listen, he was there at the beginning, so there's no way you could say he didn't have an arm in the beginnings of hip hop?
Well, we have to keep in mind that these songs like Apache and It's Just Begun, they were not made for B-boys. They were adopted later for B-boys. We have to remember that. Jimmy Castor didn't make that song say, I want to make this song for the B-boys. That's not his intent. So a lot of these songs were never for the B-boys. A lot of these songs came from our parents' record collections. Had nothing to do with hip hop. They just found these obscure songs that many people may not have heard and said, let's dance to this. But the creator of these songs didn't have hip hop in mind. So we got to think about it in that regard. Now, Jimmy Castor did say in an interview that he was influenced by Latin music. And so there's a part in the song Just Begun where there's a break. The break is about 2 minutes long, and it features a whole lot of different instruments. The timbales, what Dr. Clone likes to say, is a Latin instrument, therefore it's a Latin influenced song. It's about 17 seconds. And so he'll say that that is the Latin breakdown. 17 seconds of a over almost 4-minute song. And so this is the extent that they go through to try to substantiate themselves as a foundation of hip hop. And so when you look at the Apache, that was influenced by a guy named Preston Epps. And he was one of the first Black American bongo players in the 50s. He made a song called Bongo Rock. It doesn't sound like the one that that everyone is familiar with, but he was the consultant on that album, The Incredible Bongo Band. He's one of the consultants, and he's Black American. He wasn't influenced by Latin culture. He was influenced by Africans. He talked about Africans coming to Los Angeles and, you know, as part of these tours that I was referencing, and he fell in love with these African drums. And before they left, they gave him some drums, and that's how he became a bongo player after that. But it had nothing to do with Latin culture. So when you know the history of how these songs come to be, you realize it had very little to do with Latin culture. And let me be clear. I'm not trying to remove Latinos from hip hop whatsoever. I'm not trying to do that. Matter of fact, I remember even John Leguizamo, he had a special about highlighting Latinos.
Yeah, I saw it.
Right. And he did his thing in New York. And he actually said hip hop was created by Black Americans, but the Latinos was the Scottie Pippen of hip hop, meaning they assisted. So even John Leguizamo understood who created it.
Right.
Puerto Ricans did help. Puerto Ricans did contribute. Puerto Ricans did participate, but they're not the creators. No matter what they say, they cannot lay claim to any of the creations. And I'm going to keep going. So go ahead.
No, keep going. This is your Listen. Hey, Truth. Now, first, you my Jersey brother. I'm gonna say that first. Secondly, they've been asking for you. They want to hear what you got to say. That's why I got you on the Summer Jam screen by yourself, because I've watched so many of your videos. It's kind of surreal even being on a panel with you. I appreciate you made us earn it first. But they want to hear what you got to say. This is informative and perspectives. That's what Tri-Media is about. So go ahead, most certainly. Cook up. I got other questions, but I want you to cook.
Okay, so like I said, no one is trying to erase Latinos from hip hop. I remember my second video, I actually said that. My very second video over 2 years ago. No one's trying to erase nobody. But we have to understand our position in the evolution of the culture. And once you overstep your position, that's when people like myself have to say, hold up, let's discuss this, because you're overstepping. And what I mean by overstepping, here's another example of overstepping.
Okay.
Dr. Cologne wants to Latinize James Brown. And what I mean by that?
That was actually my next question. I can't believe you doing that. But go ahead. What is the Latin influence on James Brown? That's exactly
I call it the Latinization of James Brown.
Okay, hold on. Let me go ahead, cook up. I gotta change the banner.
Okay.
Go ahead, I'm listening to you.
So now you're talking about the Godfather of Soul, who is a descendant of Gullah Geechee people.
Oh,
So
really? Okay.
you can't get no blacker than that. You know what I'm saying? In
Yes,
America.
sir.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
So
sir.
he's trying to Latinize James Brown. So how does he Latinize James Brown? He points to his percussionist or his conga player, whose name is Johnny Griggs. Apparently, Johnny Griggs had played with a Latin group, I believe in 1968, called Ishmael Miranda and the Orchestra Harlow. Now, although he did not play congas in that group, he played some percussive instrument and he sung, right? So Dr. Cologne wants to use that affiliation because later he joined James Brown's band. He wants to use that affiliation to suggest there's the Latin connection. So what you hear on Give It Up, Turn It Loose, according to Dr. Cologne, is the Latin connection. Is the Afro-Cuban connection. That's how us Latinos fit in. That's it. Clap your hands, stomp your feet. That's us. That's the claim.
Okay.
When you examine through ethnomusicology, you understand that he wasn't speaking of that. And I showed that in the video where it was speaking about Africa, and, swinging on the vine, and it spoke to how James Brown was always conscious of how Black people were portrayed, and he wanted to, instead of making the jungle imagery, when he says in the jungle, he wanted to make it the jungle imagery not about a negative thing. He wanted to make it about a positive thing. So he was trying to flip it. So that's what the reference to in the jungle, has nothing to do with Latin culture. Because let's be honest, when you think of the jungle, I don't think you're thinking of anywhere other than Africa for most people. Most people, whether or not jungles exist in Africa or not, most people are trained to think like that. And I gave an example, the Rumble in the Jungle with Muhammad Ali and George Foreman. That imagery, the jungle. So you're going to think Africa. This is what James Brown was talking about. Actually, he did a concert for that fight. So in the jungle, that was the reference. It was an African reference. So when you hear the conga being played in that particular song, that's a reference to Africa, not Cuba. Dr. Cologne wants you to think it's Cuba because he wants to crowbar his way into the culture. So this is what I mean by the Latinization of James Brown. So any song you hear conga, according to him, in a James Brown song is related to Cuban culture. And for me, that's insulting because it's not true at all. So, and
it seems like you're genuinely, you know what I appreciate about it, from watching your videos, it seems like you are genuinely, this actually bothers you. It's not just like just words and, it's just, no, they're just wrong. No, this bothers you. It seems like it actually like really hits you where it hurts. DQ in the building. What's going on, G? So go ahead. Speak to that. What's going on, brother? Speak to that.
Well, because I'm a defender of Black American culture. I'm a defender of Black people. I love my culture. I don't want anyone to take advantage or appropriate it without giving credit to the people who originated it. And so when I feel that people are overstepping, then I'm going to speak to it. There's this guy, actually, I've been dealing with, you probably see in a couple of videos I did about him in the UK, who's saying that jazz is not Black American music. So I had to go after him. So for me, it's personal because I know my culture. I know what my people did. And if you're going to tell me that's not true, I'm going to come after you. I actually prepared another video. I got to deal with him because he did a response video to me, but I haven't had the time. And for me to really adequately deal with him, I have to really dig into the research. I have most of the information I need, but I have to really dig into some and really spell this out plainly. So without question, the answer is it comes from us undoubtedly. Why even question it? You know, so it's about Black culture. It's not necessarily about hip hop, but hip hop was the vehicle that I got into this by. Is anybody that I feel is being offensive to Black American culture and Black, especially Black American music, I'm coming for you. That's who I am. That's what I believe. So it is personal.
DQ, I got DQ. I got hits in the building. Logic said he'll be here in 15 minutes. I think that's going to be very exciting. Our resident, or our president of our the company. I like his views. I like how he presents his perspectives. DQ hits. Y'all got anything before we take this commercial break? Adrian in the building. Roguish in the building. Peace to the chat. Melanated Warrior.
Yeah, I just want to because we're not here to agree or disagree with our guests, you know, for the most part.
Yeah, we're gonna do after
and but if there's a point of agreement, there's and to make it more broad, if bands are either cover bands or they perform a particular genre of music, and I think what the brother is saying is when you join a funk band, you're playing funk music. It doesn't matter what nationality you are. They need a bass player. They need a bass player to play funk music or soul music or jazz music or rock and roll. And a lot of times you hire the best person to play that instrument for the kind of music that you're playing. So it doesn't always add up to a funk band is all Black people or people from the South, or blues band may not all be people from, you know, the Southeast or something like that. They're trying to find the best player of that instrument for the genre of music that they're playing. So that's different than in somebody like Jimmy Castor. Even it doesn't, not that his background or his lineage doesn't matter. He's listed as a funk and soul artist,
Right?
because he played funk and soul music. And if you listen to funk and soul music, and again, you go back to that era, you don't have videos. You listen to music, you buy a record, you play it, you listen to it. You don't know what color these people are. You don't know what studio it came from. You know it's the kind of music that you want to hear. You don't know how many people are in the band unless you're going to read the back of the album cover, you know, the credits. But that's something for us all to keep in mind when we're doing history about music. A band is not necessarily made up of based on ethnic group. It's based on genre and instrumentation, period. So to fast forward right now, Eminem is a rapper, right? He's white. So that would be like saying because Eminem is a rapper and he's white, white people had him, white people made rap, white people did all of that. No, he came into the rap part of hip hop. Regardless of his upbringing and all that, he's specializing in rapping. So that's what he's coming in as, a white person who raps. He could have sung rock and roll. He could have did the Kid Rock thing. He could sing I don't know what they got going on in Detroit, you know, as far as white people go, but he could have chose any genre like we all could, you know, but he chose rap. He's one of the top rappers and he's white, but that doesn't mean white people, you know, created rap or even Detroit rap or battle rap or anything like that. So let's just keep that in mind when we're talking about bands, the genre of music and the purpose.
Every now and then I'm gonna take a question from the chat. It says, ask the guy from the UK. I believe he's referencing Knock Measy. Shouts to Knock Measy, man. I apologize. This holiday weekend is crazy. I promise I'm gonna get to you as soon as matter of fact, tomorrow morning, I promise. Ask the guy from the UK if he's talking about Creoles or Creoles of color that invented jazz because they are different groups. Truth Savior.
What was that again?
Who do you think up here is from the UK? I'm just
You probably
curious.
think I'm from the UK.
No, he's asking you to answer the question, but he says ask the guy from the UK. The only guy I know from the UK is Knock Measy when he has these conversations. So, but I don't know. See, I don't know. Take what you can from that question. Creoles and Creoles of color that invented jazz because they are different groups. Truth Savior.
Okay, I'm under the impression that the foundation of jazz includes really two forms of music, really,
The
basically
white guy. To talk about
two forms of music. Without ragtime and without the blues, there is no way you could even have jazz, right? Now, the Creoles, what happened was the Creoles, I'm not going to get into the Creoles of color. I'm just going to stick with the word Creole.
Okay.
Because as it's defined in jazz history, Creoles were a part of a caste system that they had the same rights as white people up until a certain point, especially around the ending of the 19th century and the implementation of Jim Crow. They became Black overnight. Now, these Creole musicians, they used to play at the opera houses and things of that nature. But after Jim Crow was implemented, they had no more work. And so they had to go uptown and hang with the Negro folk, the Negro musicians.
Okay.
And the Creoles were very instrumental in helping develop jazz, but the Creoles didn't bring a form of music with them. There is no form of music that you could say the Creoles brought. But they were expert musicians because they were classically trained musicians. But they had to learn how to play like Black musicians in order to facilitate this new thing that ultimately became jazz. So if the question is, did the Creoles create jazz? Absolutely not. Just as the Puerto Ricans assisted, the Creoles assisted in jazz. That's my question, answer to that question.
Yeah, perfect answer. I mean, they given a lot of good answers in the chat. Hey, yo, Trail, you seem to know a lot about music. One of these days, I'm gonna get you up. Get you up here. So ask the question, Dream. Damn, we know you done put in the chat 5 times. You got a question? Just ask the question. What about? So now we're gonna move to a different level of question. So now your premise is that hip hop is purely Black American culture, 100%. As far as for the creation, could you explain what exactly? Because nobody ever does that. They just tell me what the Latino population didn't do.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what, based on your research, tell me what specifically, I mean, dates, and if you can do dates and eras, specifically, what did Latinos do in regards to the origin hip hop, if anything?
Well, like you said, the origins. No, I'm not going to say they had absolutely nothing to do with the origins of it, but
Okay.
they were around due to proximity. Let's be honest. You know, the Bronx was full of Puerto Ricans and Blacks. However, there were segments where Blacks were pretty much the dominant grouping of people. Like when you talk about Faze, talk about how Bronx, what do you call it? Not Soundview, Bronxdale was mostly
Okay.
Black. Coke Rock talks about how the Hevalo at the time when he was with Herc was mostly Black. So although they were a mixing, not every area was like that. And like I said, before 77, it clearly wasn't that way. So let me see if I can answer it this way. How are they a part of the origin story? Again, they're not part of the origin story, although they were there. They were there. You have people like DJ Tex Hollywood who played with Mario. He was there, but many people didn't know that he was Latino. People today say that no one knew that he was Latino. You got to understand it. This speaks to the dominant culture at the time, which was Black American culture. Coke Rock is on record saying he didn't even know Herc was Jamaican for 2 years. And why is that?
Really? Wait, say that again? Say that one more time?
Coke Rock didn't even know Herc was Jamaican for 2 years. He's on record saying, if you look at the culture since 71, look at the video, he's being interviewed and he says that. He had no idea that Herc was Jamaican for 2 years. And one day he said he went over his house and heard his mother speaking and realized that they were Jamaican. And so the point I'm making is these other groups assimilated into Black American culture because it was the dominant culture. So due to proximity, Latinos were there. Now, 1975 for Dr. Cone is very important because there was this group called TBB, the Bronx Boys, rocking crew. Now, in my research, the Bronx Boy rocking crew was a rocking crew. It was a different form of dance. It wasn't a breaking crew. They weren't b-boys. Puerto Ricans at the time did not go by the name b-boys. B-boys was a term only for Black dancers.
Okay.
Before 1977, Puerto Ricans didn't refer to themselves as b-boys. They refer to themselves as rockers. So, but now people want to say, oh, it's interchangeable. It's the same thing. I have clips where you have these rockers, these Puerto Rican rockers, who would say, oh, when I saw breaking, I didn't like it. It was, and they refer to a year, 1977. You have a rocker named Frank Rojas says this, 1977. King Up Rock, another Puerto Rican rocker, says in 1977, he saw breaking for the first time. Oh, I'm not getting my clothes dirty. I'm not doing that.
Okay.
So the idea that rockers are equivalent to the b-boys is not true. And Dr. Cologne wants to suggest that the rockers predate anything dealing with the b-boys or dealing with the brothers. However, this rock dance by the Puerto Ricans was dance to music that we created, that Black Americans created. So if you look at, I got a video that speaks to that. It's called Up Rock and Rocking. It talks about the history of the rock dance and where it comes from. You got Latinos, Puerto Ricans referring to Soul Train as influences, calling a dance, before it was called a rock dance, calling it the funk dance, things of that nature. So they speak to the origins of it, but now years later, oh no, it's just us. It was us. We did this. You guys didn't influence us at all. This was just us. But you're dancing to our music. How do you create a dance, but the music you choose to display that dance is our music? Does that make any sense? And so
no,
this is what I explore in that video about Up Rock and Rock. And so let's go back to 1975 when TBB became a rocking crew, this Latino crew, right? Now, Cologne wants to suggest that they were the first, not only the first Latino b-boy crew, but the first b-boy crew. He's not acknowledging crews like the Chuck City crew, the Casanova crew, the Gun Hill crew, the Zulu Kings. He might acknowledge the Zulu Kings, but he puts them slightly after the Puerto Rican crew, which is very disrespectful because there's more than enough evidence to suggest that not only were we doing it first, we were the first. Let me give you another example. There's a video. There's a video where track 2 is standing next to another Puerto Rican b-boy named Jojo, or he goes by the name Spider, but his real name is Jojo, I guess. And he's explaining, he was saying, you know, by the time he picked up b-boying, the brothers were saying, why are you still doing that? Why are you still going to the floor? Why are you still getting your hands dirty, getting your clothes dirty? You know, that's played out. And the Puerto Ricans talks about how, you know, it upset him that the brothers were telling him that it's played out, but he loved to dance so much, he kept it going. And he referenced the Zulu Kings as being one of those crews that was out there doing the thing. Now, I want you guys to listen to this very carefully. Dr. Clone wants to present the image that no brothers were going to the floor. No brothers were doing footwork. It was the Latinos that did that first. That's what he wants you to think. But think about this back and forth that Jojo was having with the interviewer. Jojo is saying, the brother is telling him, why are you still going to the floor? Why are you still dancing on the floor? Why are you still getting your clothes dirty? So whatever the Puerto Ricans were doing seems similar to the brothers. For them to say, why are you still doing that? So this whole image to suggest that the brothers were not going to the floor, it was the Latinos, is a lie, because Jojo said that the brothers said that. And track 2 is standing right next to him, actually agreeing with JoJo and his assessment of what the history was like. So what's happening now is that a lot of these Puerto Ricans are trying to rewrite the history to make it appear that the Latinos were the first B-boys. So they disrespect people like Salsa, Trixie, Clark Kent, the legendary twins, El Dorado Mike, all these guys, they disrespect them. They disqualify them. They said, they're not B-boys. We're the B-boys. Those are not the B-boys. So he used 1975 because that is the year that TBB became a rocket crew. And he's associating rocking with B-boying and then tried to supplant the brothers who came before. Now he was like, again, he's saying the brothers didn't go to the floor. There's a group called the D Squad. And I can't pull up, I could pull up, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. But the article where Keith Cowboy is talking about, because he was a B-boy. And he was talking about when he saw the D Squad, they were doing all this stuff on the floor. He said he ain't doing that. This is 1974, 1975.
Right.
So clearly there's a history of brothers going to the floor. You talk about little boy Keith. You talk about Beaver. All these are baby Zulus who were clearly had street cred in the Bronx. Were the best B-boys in all of the Bronx, according to many. Clearly, and a lot of Puerto Ricans cite people like Little Boy Keith and Beaver as their ultimate inspiration. So if the brothers weren't going to the floor, why in the world would Puerto Ricans be interested in going to the floor or doing that at all? So we got to be careful about the history and how people are trying to rewrite it. And this is why I say that Puerto Ricans, or some Puerto Ricans like Colon, wants the Puerto Ricans to be the face of breaking, the number 2 slot next to the Caribbean slot of the DJs, and we're the Johnny Come Lately as the MCs. And so this is for Dr. Clone, this is the definition of hip hop culture. It's a total revisionist history that I'm here to correct. All
right. We're going to take a break. You said a lot. You actually added 2 more questions. You said you added 2 more questions to what I got. So I'm really enjoying this. I appreciate it. We're going to take a commercial break. Hey, y'all subscribe, man. We got 108 people watching, and it's only like 30 likes. Like and subscribe to the channel. We're like 10 away from 350. Like and subscribe. We're going to come back in 1 second, take a small commercial break. We're not done.
Yeah. DQ. Check. Have you ever had a dream in the daytime? Had the same dream since the playground. If you made it come true, cause you stay down. Nigga, have you ever really thought about the limelight? In a room full of stars when you shine bright, I'ma make the right move when the time right. Alright, nigga, have you ever had a dream during the daytime? Had the same dream since the playground. If you made it come true, cause you stay down. Nigga, have you ever really thought about the limelight? In a room full of stars when you shine bright, I'ma make the right move when the time right. Calculated every step, so I can't stand a hater out here hating on niggas out here making moves. See, I hand out the type of shit they waiting on.
Give me 1 second. I want to play a quick song by a resident DJ, a resident rapper, DQ in the building, owner of Tribe Media. Shout out to him. This is Early Morning DQ Hampton featuring Casual.
Yeah. DQ, baby. Check. Look, the fashion is clever, spectacular weather. I'm blacker than I ever been. Skisha pattern, some leather, ink and a feather. I pen some immaculate letters. My family stay with the gift, cause we rapping together. Like it's Christmas Eve, I just roll in my sleeve and drink a cup of hot cocoa while she rolling some leaves. Have you ever lit a blunt off a chimney log? Massage from a synagogue, leaves foreign student with her friends involved. No, you haven't, so I ain't trying to have it. I'm painting pictures that's lavish, getaway log cabins. Amazing the magnetism, a magnet in all facets. Check my discography, baby, it's all classics. Feeling like Curl Baskins, surrounded by all this pussy. Making this money up, y'all bastards. Funny how I mastered the art of being a subtle asshole on my dean. I'm shutting down y'all classes. COVID-19 flow nasty. Lamar Jackson with the stats, how I'm passing y'all lasses. Catch me on the lake chilling, laughing, everlasting. My mind forever layer like fall fashion, nigga. Early morning, cleaning house, smoking that dough, making money, breaking bank, getting that dough. Grab a gun, but grab a book. Don't be a dodo. If them boys disagree, then hit the dojo. Early morning, cleaning house, smoking that dough, making money, breaking bank, getting that dough. Grab a gun, but grab a book. Don't be a dodo. If them boys disagree, then hit the dojo.
Yup, and click the photo. The beat knocking like a piston missing in the low. The chicks you know the mission is to get some more dough. And if the friction and the tension seem intentional, then it's a no-go. And as an OG, I'm telling them young brothers to be cool. They push bass and turn up high, like my EQ that's clipping in the whip. And they say, yo, shit clean, pushing 60 in the trunk. 415s, going blah-da-down, blah-da-down. About to bounce, I hit the gas and rip the engine out the motor mounts. Hit the house to go read Dr. Ben. Then this chick sent a text that said, lock me in. Hibachi grill, Wagyu beef, Lil Kobe slice, late night demo tapes like Lil Homie nights. I text back at 4 a.m. while your girlie yawning, cause she think it feel better in the early morning.
Early morning, cleaning house, smoking that dough, making money, breaking bank, getting that dough. Grab a gun, but grab a book. Don't be a dodo. If them boys disagree, then hit the dojo. Early morning, cleaning house, smoking that dough, making money, breaking bank, getting that dough. Grab a gun, but grab a book. Don't be a dodo. If them boys disagree, then hit the dojo. Yeah. DQ, baby.
Yes, sir.
That's the owner of Tribe Media Innovations, DQ Hampton. Check him out on all platforms, DQ Hampton. That's early morning featuring Casual. DQ, what up, bro? We're going into the second half of our show. Start putting questions in the chat. Logic was requested, so Logic is here. He'll be back in 1 second. We up to 2,500 comments. I don't understand how this happens. We're a small channel with like 340 subscribers, but we got 100 people watching, which is exciting. We end up after all these shows with thousands of comments, so we appreciate you for that. It's not about the views right now. We're just trying to build our channel, show respect to hip hop. Shouts to the mods, shout to Knock Measy, shout to Dr. Derek Cologne, shouts to True Savvy giving us D-Red. Hey, we trying to cook up one of our presentations with Dwan B. Very big fan of his channel. I've been watching. He's got so many guests and things like that. So many people in the chat. I know he misses it, but we're very big fans. If anybody can assist us with getting in contact with the brother, we'd appreciate it. Hits is in the building. Logic, I see you in the building. We'll have Brother Truth Savior back on in 1 second. Hits, how you think it's going so far? DQ, how you think it's going so far?
I'm loving it. I'm you know me, I'm a sponge of information. I'm thinking of songs and stuff like that. So I'm sitting back as a student of this culture and of this craft. I'm just sitting back learning and getting different things that I can equip to throw in my repertoire. So yeah, I'm liking it.
I think it's difficult to give a lot of pushback because of the historical narrative that he's painting and like obvious references to, you know, our culture throughout the timeline. So, you know, we gave Dr. Clone a chance to come on, you know, and give us his point of view and his correlations. And I think it's overwhelming. Go to our community section in our YouTube channel. We got a lot of polls in there for people to take about what you think about the topics we're having, the shows. But no, it's hard to go against history, and it's a continuous line. That's my premise. It's just a continuation of African American culture. So you don't have to veer too far outside of that to, you know, see see the influences on it. So
I appreciate.
I'm with Truth on this one. I think y'all gonna lose, man. Logic gonna get beat up. Come over here and get beat up.
Yeah, come on down and get beat up.
Come over here and get the sleeper hold.
Our brother Logic has a show about FBA and ADOS coming up. Truth, I'm just letting you know. You might want to be in the building for that show.
Well,
we're working on that one. Yeah,
it's gonna be. Yeah, listen. Let me tell you how fiery this show is. He's been telling us about this show since the first hip hop show we did with Knock Measy. And then once again, love to you, Knock Measy. Pull up if you want to, brother. And it's an interesting perspective on FBA and ADOS at the origins of hip hop. But out of respect, we've been literally cultivating his idea because I love my brother. He's a president of our company. He has a lot of his own views, and I don't stop anybody from giving their perspectives. And he wants to come on and do a presentation. But like I told him, I said, listen, bro, you're going to come onto this channel. You're going to do a presentation, and I'm trying to protect you, brother. They're going to eat you alive. They're going to try to, I don't know if you'll make it out the show. I told him, I said, listen, I'll come on to the show. And I'll try to mod it as best I can, as host it as best I can, but it's gonna be rough. So I'm gonna let him do a little intro. He's been wanting to talk to you all day, but he's from the deep south, the Gulf Coast, so the time frames aren't really matching up. But he'll be here in about 5 minutes. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some questions from the chat real quick. They're telling us to get Dwan B. I want to let y'all know we've been trying to get Dwan B, but Dwan B in this conversation is a very busy man. Every time he goes live, he's got 200-300 people talking about it. I want to interview him because I like his perspectives, not his popularity per se, but he has interesting, you know, when I host, I don't give my own perspectives. I like to, you know, play point guard to the panel and get their perspectives. But he has a lot of good, interesting perspectives. Are you familiar with him?
Yeah, very, very much so. Yes.
Yeah, I want to get him on because he, you know, he could talk for hours and hours on the subject. And then y'all put in the chat, who y'all want us to get on. You know, Tariq Nasheed. You know, I'd love to interview him about that movie, Microphone Check. But even him, you know, these are busy people. We'll do our best. You know, we do this for the chat. Shouts to our mods and everybody. But y'all put your questions in the chat. There were a few questions in here. Dream, if you asked your question, do me a favor. Just put it back in the chat if you could. But there was a couple of questions in here already.
Do us a favor too. If you have a question, just put like hashtag question at the beginning of it. So when we scroll through, it's easier for us to find them, please.
Okay, so I think there was a question about breakdancing on the Olympics. Are you familiar? Appreciate that, Nick Ombre. You leave the best comments. I appreciate you for that. Who petitioned the Olympics to get breakdancing into the Olympics? Are you familiar with that?
I have no clue.
No
clue personally, no.
Okay. And you know, that's another thing that I appreciate you, right? I follow a lot of these people on YouTube, right? And one of the things that they say, and they'll say, you know, you ask them a question and they always got an answer. Mm-hmm. I come from a long line of elders in my family telling me if a person always has an answer, they're usually wrong. So if they don't have the ability to say, I don't know, don't trust them. Don't trust them at all. So I appreciate that. I'm scrolling up to get some questions. You're doing amazing, like I thought you would. There's no question.
I have a question while you scroll
Go ahead, boss.
and find too.
Go ahead.
Can you speak to the term hip hop as opposed to the actual actions or the things that make up the actual culture, and where you believe the term came from, not necessarily the different aspects of it, but where the actual term hip hop came from, and you know, time frame, if you could.
Well, we all know that we all heard the stories about Cowboy and you know, coming up, you know, that story about his friend going to the army and all that kind of stuff. But I want to speak to the issue of
No, I don't think everybody heard that story. You got to tell that part. I know what you're talking about. The hip hop, yeah. Go ahead. No, you got to tell that part.
Ask the question again.
I'm trying to remember the actual people. I know it's Cowboy. I think his friend was going to the army, and they was teasing him, and they come up with this marching cadence, hip hop, and a lot of people talk about that being the genesis of that term being used. They're also talking about I forget the other DJ, escapes me. Starsky.
Yep.
Yes,
Starsky.
him being the origins of that phrase as well. But at the end of the day, for me, when we talk about hip hop culture, we're really talking about a social construct, meaning that it's meaning that it's like race is a social construct. When we talk about hip hop culture, that's a social construct because it was created by one individual, the culture. When we talk about Bambaataa, that was created by him. At least he's get credit for that. And by doing that, he invited these other elements like knowledge and graffiti. When actually, when you really boil down to hip hop is really, if you want to boil it, yeah, it's really about DJing, dancing, and MCing. That's the genesis. For me, that's hip hop. I don't know if that answers your question. I don't know. But,
No, definitely, because it's there's the action, and then there's the name of the action,
right.
and a lot of times, then you name something after it was developed, or you see it, or you call it something, or you change the name, right?
Right.
So, you know, that term came out after a lot of the actual, you know, there was no hip hop records back then.
Exactly.
Was no hip hop music back then. And that's why I say that term may lead people to you know, to believe, okay, 73, it was hip hop. There was no hip hop, nothing back then.
Right.
It wasn't, you know, that term, you know, there was no music for it. You couldn't play hip hop music. There was no hip hop music.
No.
There were no hip hop artists.
No.
So you know, the term means something different than the action and the time frame and the people, you know, how they used it or how they came up with it. So I just wanted, you know, your take on that. Go ahead, Brass.
We do have a question in the chat. Who was the first, if you know this, who was the first Puerto Rican breakdancer?
No, I have no clue because I couldn't even tell you who's the first. Well, Trixie says he was the first B-boy, but it's hard to say because like dances evolve. Everything is evolving, you know. So if there could have been a brother doing similar dances that the B-boys are doing, but they didn't call it breaking. So it's all about evolving. So it's hard to put a person or a name to a particular dance or a time. So I couldn't tell you who the first Puerto Rican, but most people will say that Batch from the TBB crew would
TBB,
say,
okay.
Track 2 actually says that in the Freshest Kids documentary, he cites Batch as being the first one. I think he said actually the first B-boy or a Latin B-boy. And he cites Salsa as being the first Latin B-boy group. So I guess if you go by Track 2, he would probably say Batch.
Okay. Second question. Did Puerto Ricans really create salsa?
Puerto Ricans did not create salsa. What actually happened was...
Wait a second. Whoa, 1 second. Puerto Ricans did not create salsa?
No, they did not.
Okay, go ahead.
They did not. This is a little bit of a history behind it, and it starts basically in the late 20s early 30s, when Mario Bauza, who's a Cuban, Afro-Cuban, moved to America, excellent musician. But so he joins a band, a Chick Webb's band, and for like 10 years, he learns all aspects of American jazz. And so one day in the 40s, he decides, you know what, I'm going to mix my music from my homeland with this Black American music, and I'm going to call it Afro-Cuban jazz. So now that's the first step in the creation of salsa per se. Now, even in the first Afro-Cuban band, which we call Machito and his Afro-Cuban band, there were Black Americans in the band. Not only were there Black Americans in the band, there were Black arrangers in the band, because this was a process that was, started. So there were Black people as part of that evolution. Then that turned into the mambo era. And basically the mambo, that's in the 50s, more or less in the 50s, and that was the area where it was a high emphasis. This was really where salsa has its origins, but it's still a Cuban music. Mambo is still a Cuban music. But like I pointed out, in 1959, when the Cuban Revolution hit, that's when Cubans could no longer travel to America and vice versa. So it was an embargo. Nobody could go anywhere. So imagine you see a stray dog in the road, and the stray dog represents mambo. And the Puerto Ricans are around and said, look at that stray dog. I'm going to grab that stray dog and bring it home. That's what they did with Afro-Cuban music. They picked it up, added their little flavor to it, changed the name from Afro-Cuban music or the mambo, and termed it salsa. So what you have is a music that's not originally created by Puerto Ricans. Just like reggaeton is not created by Puerto Ricans. It's a music that they put their spice on. And now we think of salsa as a Puerto Rican creation, which in fact is not. But they do deserve credit for bringing salsa music to the world, because they were the people who brought it around the world and presented it to everyone. And so that's why people believe that Puerto Ricans created salsa. That's the short end of it, basically, the history.
How long did you study all of this? I mean, I'm actually amazed at the range. When we first started talking about the show, you immediately, as most humble educated people do, is start telling me, now listen, I wasn't this, I didn't do this, I don't know this, I don't know this, I know what I know what I've researched. But how did you get all of this wide range of knowledge? Like, what sparked your love and interest in and around this subject?
A lover of music. First of all, a lover of music in general, lover of jazz. So in order to study jazz, you have to know all the elements of jazz, what went into jazz, the offspring of jazz. How did Latin jazz become a thing? How did fusion jazz become a thing? You got to have to kind of know that in order to understand the history. And so over time, this is how I come to that knowledge. And yeah, that's basically what it is. It's just, just experience over time. I didn't go to school or study it. It's just things that I picked up over the years.
We got a question from American Dream. Peace to you, Dream. Still waiting on that first show, but peace to you. Question. Does the recent Latino interest in claiming hip hop have anything to do with the new hip hop museum in the Bronx? And what does the museum say about the Latino contribution to hip hop? Have you been? I don't know the name of the museum. Do you know what he's referencing?
I'm aware of the museum, but
Okay.
I never been there, but I do understand it does talk about basically the 50-50 theory of hip hop. And
explain that 50-50 theory.
That Puerto Ricans and African Americans created hip hop. So clearly that's not true, but that is the theme from what I understand and what I heard, that's the theme of it. And as in reference to the Latino claim to hip hop that seems to be emerging, I think it has a lot to do with demographics as well, because what's happening, Latino culture is becoming they are the largest minority in America now. And if you're a marketer and you want to sell records and you want to sell streams, and you have this market of Latinos, and you tell them that they're the creators of this genre, and this music that we're going to put out is really your music, and you're going to soak that music up. You're going to soak those streams up. You know what I'm saying? You're going to, because you're convinced, everyone is telling you you're the thing now. You're the biggest market, you're the biggest group now. And so I think a lot of it has to do with the change in demographics of this country, and it benefits marketers to market to them. So why not tell them they created it? Why not? I would do it if I was.
So you would say that it's more like a Latino, it's more, damn, come on, help me out. It's more not geared. I guess I would say geared towards,
right now, I don't think the museum is open, and just like any, I guess, historical aspect of something, just like if you Google when did hip hop start, you'll get 1973, you'll get Cool Herc, you'll get 1520 Sedgwick, you'll get that Little Rec Room, and that maybe to someone, on the other side of the world would go, okay, hip hop was created at this address in this room on this date, this very date, which is ridiculous, right? So the museum's not open yet, but if you look at their website, I can pull up their website. They have terms like inclusivity, history, things like that. So that's any museum is going to show culture, and origin in there may be a different story inside of the museum as opposed to hip hop as a current and ongoing 50-year culture now, quote unquote. So they're going to have all type of information, and not only the museum. You can go on hip hop tours in New York City. I think there's two main companies. You just can Google hip hop tours, and you can come to the city, and they'll put you on a bus and they'll take you around the city to show you some of the different areas where things may have sprouted up. They'll show you 1520. They'll show you graffiti. They'll show you places where the movie Wild Style was filmed. They'll have people break dance for you, explain rapping, DJing, things like that. So you don't, the museum is static, but they also have tours, and those like Truth said are geared towards getting people to come, participate. They're not very partial. So that it's going to be a museum. I'm waiting for them to open. I think 2025 they're going to be open, but until then they are hip hop tours. So
yeah, I think I was recalling like they have these press conferences about the museum, and based
I'm gonna pull it
on
up
what
right
they
now.
were saying about it, led me to believe it was going to be basically a 50-50 narrative that's going to be represented in the museum.
Let's see. Hold on. Let me pull it up real quick. We ain't going to read the whole. We're just going to look at it.
Our brother Logic's having some connection issues. We'll get him up as soon as possible. Knock Meezy in the building. Just let me know if you want to come sit on the panel. And then we're going to open up the link to questions, because I don't want to keep my brother up here all day. We had him for an hour and a half. We probably do about 30, 45 minutes of questions, and then do an after party to discuss the show.
So yeah, there it is right there. That's all. I don't believe it's opening. You have to learn about
it. It says 2025.
Yeah. Now, again, if you go off just imagery, right? You see the first image that you see on the page. If you click learn about us, you scroll down. I'm just going by imagery. You see the DJ equipment. You see this big old afro right here. And this is a popular picture they use in different, I don't have my cursor on, but you can see it over there on the left. And that's the new stuff. But there you go. That's authenticity, inclusivity, education, innovation, community, integrity, and social responsibility. So just looking at this picture, you can see, it's inclusive.
Okay.
Community. And so that's it. Hip hop music, get involved next year. Herbie Hancock. Let me Get out of here.
That's a wild picture of Herbie Hancock. I don't think that's not a cover picture to me. Question: before hip hop or disco, then I'm gonna open up the link because now as normally what happens, Logic is having some technical issues. He wants to ask, but he's like I say, he's in the Gulf Coast. They're having some tough weather down there, so just to be patient. I'm giving.
Want that smoke.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah, no. Yeah, we can hear you, but don't interrupt my damn show. Give me a second. Cam up if you can, because I want to see your response to some of this. There's a Logic portion to this show for the chat. I think Dr. Cologne is in the building. We're gonna let you up, brother. Just give us a second. Not Measy, you family. If you want to sit on the panel, whether you got something to say or not, just come up or just ask for it. If y'all see it, give them the information. Knock Measy in the building since day one. Mute your mic, Logic. So I'm gonna ask you a couple more questions. I'm gonna drop the link, and I'm gonna let you and Logic have a quick conversation. Before hip hop or disco got started, matter of fact, these would be rapid fire. Answer them as fast as you can. Question: before hip hop or disco got started, did Grandmaster Flowers, was he the first DJ before Herc?
No. Oh, Flowers. Flowers. Yes, Flowers.
Yes.
Not Hollywood.
So Flowers was before
Flowers
DJ
was.
Herc.
Yes, he's out of Brooklyn. I'm thinking of Hollywood. Yes. Flowers.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I'm not gonna ask that question. That one's a little wild. I want to.
And also first is hard because there were DJs. There wasn't just one DJ like
right.
That. There was never one. There's time frame. So late 60s, early 70s. Yes. So there. Yeah. He definitely was before her. Go ahead.
Yes.
My bad.
I hear the term that hip hop is not rap. Can you take a quick minute and speak to that? Do you agree with that? That hip hop is not necessarily rap?
No, I don't. I mean, I do disagree with that.
Okay.
Rap is a part of hip hop, and this is I don't know where that comes from. That when you think about the evolution of hip hop, if it wasn't for rap, there is no hip hop. There is no there would be no vehicle where the b-boys, these Puerto Rican b-boys, would be able to showcase whatever they were doing, their breaking skills. It was the result of, let's face it, had it not been for Rapper's Delight, The Message, These Are the Breaks, songs like that put a spotlight on New York and brought to the world, hey, what's going on in this barrel called the Bronx. No one would care, but it was rapping. How could you say rapping is not part of hip hop when that was the vehicle that gave a lot of people the break?
Mm-hmm.
So I totally reject anyone saying it's not a part of it.
Are you familiar with kicking and knocking, or knocking and kicking? I don't know if there's an order.
No, I'm not familiar with that term. No.
So you just did it again. My respect level's going up. When you don't know something, you don't make it up. You just say, I don't know. Speak to the difference between African Black rhythm and Latin Puerto Rican. Which one was in hip hop music?
There's no such thing as Latin rhythms. Let's be clear about that.
Okay.
There's no such thing. All Latin rhythms are African rhythms. So this is, again, trying to suggest that another culture did something that was unique from a different culture. Every rhythm that the Afro-Cubans brought to America came from Africa. They might put a Latin name on it, but they're all African rhythms. That's basically my answer to that.
Okay, I'm gonna open the link to the chat. Logic, if you could speak, if you can cam up, that'd be great. But if you can't, I understand.
Let's let Truth close out if he got any, closing before.
No, I really don't have anything. I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, there goes Logic. I'm out. Logic is here. I'm out.
That's how us Jersey people do. He's good. He's good. He built for this. Built brick tough. So I just want to be clear. I got the president of Tri-Media in the building. He's got a great show coming up. Be on the lookout for this flyer. He's got a great show. Yeah, I
Or
almost want to play.
strictly,
Yeah. I almost want to play a little sidebar that says the views of Logic, the president of Tribe Media, are not necessarily the views of Tribe Media Innovations as a whole. I'm gonna let them cook. You got your shot. Then I'm gonna let Doc come in and knock me easy. Y'all welcome to come on the panel. I'm gonna drop the link, but I want to let them discourse a little bit first. Go ahead, Logic. You got your shot, bro. What's going on, bro? How's the weather out there?
Bad in the mud.
Yeah, I know,
Be
bro.
safe. Be safe
bro.
out there, bro. Definitely
Yeah,
be safe.
Yeah, be safe. Link is in the chat. Go ahead, Logic. You got your chance, bro.
Traveling and dealing with all type of bad, with all types of bad weather and driving conditions and all that kind of good stuff.
All right, so
Shout out to
Logic,
the chat.
I'm gonna give you. Take some time and state your premise so that Truth can hear it, and then and also Truth, if you have a Cash App or anything, send us the link or how we could donate or support. I'll put it in the chat. Go ahead, Logic. You're on the Summer Jam screen. Cook up. Look, why y'all put that on the comments? That's terrible. What's up, Doc? I'll bring you up in a second, bro.
Just rude, man. Terrible. Okay, so here's my premise. Right. I've actually done a fair amount of research as far as the stuff that I can dig up. And I'm under a clear impression that there's a difference between participation and origins, right? I get that. I'm all with that. Now for me, I have a tough time of pinpointing the origins. And that's okay. I think that's just based on my digging. That's based on the information that I could find, that I can read about it. And what it says is that it's a collaboration. Now, with that being said, I'm just saying what the information says. I don't have like I'm not as emotionally attached to what it says. So I can just, accept what it says. That doesn't too much bother me. But as far as my premise goes, I feel like this conversation takes a turn that is a little distracting, right? I heard you up here and you were mentioning things about your love for the Black community, how you stand up for it, and I actually applaud that. I appreciate that. I actually participate in that. I think that's actually really important to me too, is being a defender of Black people, Black culture, Black influence, and Black image. All of that stuff is very important. So with that being said, it brings me to what would the diminishment of Black culture, Black image be if you did have to now accept not rap, but hip hop as a collaboration, right? I don't think it diminishes what rap stands for. I mean, I keep calling it rap, but hip hop stands for what it has brought to the Black community. I don't think that's actually a diminishment at all to say it's a collaboration. As a matter of fact, and what I mean by it's a little distracting, because the more I dig in hip hop, and when I look at some of these interviews from some of these old guys like Kool Herc, Charlie Chase, and the likes, I see a theme of hip hop having some political and social implications, right? And what I mean when I'm saying it's distracting is that while we sit here and kick back and forth a cool conversation about who started, who didn't, I think we break away from the essence of what hip hop is altogether. I think it's another conversation that brings us even further from being able to bring these minds together, whether they be Black or brown, that help participate in furthering the Black community. The conditions in which hip hop are formed and forged out of are the social pressures, right? It's a way for the people with no voice to have a voice, right? It's a way, it's an outcry to social injustice, to police brutality, and I guess the truth behind who originated it it becomes somewhat irrelevant if you focus on that. To me, yeah, that's just my personal point of view, right? I can, I can show what the museums say about it. People who are collecting artifacts, I can show, what some of the other definitions of. Hits brought up one day that they actually teach hip hop in colleges and things like that, and part of the major points of the curriculum are the social implications and political implications of it. And I think we can all have an opportunity to like raise the level of the conversation, right, by giving more respect to that part of hip hop rather than attempting to pry it away from others or hold it all to ourselves. Because if it wasn't something that was any good, then it wouldn't be worth giving away. In an ironic point of view for art, right? If you could have the most beautiful art, picture or what have you in your house, but if nobody gets to see it, I mean, what do you actually have? If you can't express it with the world, if the world doesn't get to enjoy it with you, it's kind of
So, and
I'm
Logic,
not
do
really
me a
sure
favor.
what at that point. Yeah.
Do me a favor, Logic, real quick, because the chat is asking. In 2 sentences, state your premise. They're waiting on your show. They saying that Logic
But
needs his own show.
they're getting lost on the whole
Yeah,
thing.
they're getting lost in what your actual premise is, and then I want to get everybody get up. So state your actual premise in 2 sentences. State your premise.
We're
down
getting
to
away
2
from the
sentences.
actual essence of hip hop. I'm trying to dumb it down. I'm
Okay,
trying.
good. I got you.
I think that we're getting away from the actual essence of hip hop. The whole thing that makes hip hop really important is the fact that it has some social and political implications, right? Like not necessarily this or aura of togetherness, but when does our conversation collide with solutions to our social implications in our environments?
So for the most part, what you're saying is, wow, and I'm gonna let everybody come up now. Knock Me's in the building, Dr. Derek Cologne. Rogan, she was in the building. You're welcome to come back up. Link is in the chat. So essentially what your premise, hold on one second.
I think he's trying to gather people from the back room.
Yeah, I'm trying to get people from the back. Pause. I am not trying to get people from the back. Never.
Us old heads don't know what that damn pause.
I don't care. Listen, everybody in that chat know, and I don't need to be clipped up saying that live. So once again, yeah, I know DQ, so they don't understand. His premise basically is this: while we're fighting over who basically is the origins of hip hop, I think that is getting lost, that we're missing out on the social and cultural implications of the other things that are going on while we're sitting here fighting over who's at the origin of hip hop. Would you say that makes sense, Logic?
That's really, really close. So we can go with that for now.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna let Dr. Cologne speak. We're gonna get right back to it. Dr. Cologne, if you could cam up, I'd appreciate it. Welcome to the building. Once again, fire presentation, over 2,000 views last week. Like I said before, you stand on your square, and I can respect that. So go ahead, brother. Speak your speak. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the panel.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you for
Yes,
allowing me to, come in. And this is not really anything directed at Truth Savior. It's more so directed at the channel as a whole. So I was led to believe that this channel has guests on the channel.
Yep.
And those guests, at least I was led to believe this, are not supposed to talk about other people. They're supposed to present their case.
Y'all mute y'all mics. I'm getting an echo. Y'all mute y'all mics. Go ahead, brother.
So they're supposed to be presenting a case. I get that, and I respect what Truth said. He has his truth, and he's going to stand on it. And I'm not here to debate him.
Okay.
I'm just a little confused with the channel as a whole. I was led to believe something about this channel. I respected this channel, but I've been watching since the start of this live, and it's basically been an attack on me from your moderators, who are supposed to be the leaders on your show. They represent leadership, and they're attacking me. Like, I've never seen a live where moderators attack people that's not what they're supposed to be doing. I don't know how you run it. That's cool how you run it, but I just want you to know that a lot of the moderators that you got are FBA and do not like me and have expressed it in the chat, and none of you are doing anything to address that, which leads me to be real suspect of your channel. You said one thing and you're allowing things. You pretend to be this, and then when I'm not around, you allow this. I realize we don't have a relationship like that. I understand that. And you said you respect me and you respect other guests, but man, do I feel disrespected, because I deserve none of the stuff that was said about me, the half-truths that Truth Savior said about me, without giving me the opportunity to defend myself. And now is not the time. I'm just telling you how I feel about your channel. What you're doing is wrong, bro. And you made me believe that this channel was one thing, but really you got FBA all in as your moderator. That's how we're gonna do this. That's how we got the other dude. See what the other dude is doing? This is what I'm talking about.
All right. Stop right there. All right. Let's just stop right there.
Did you see what he just did? This is a dude who doesn't like me either.
Okay. Hold on.
Come on, man. Like, what is this?
Now, hold on. You just mentioned respect, right? All right. Number one, if we got 100 people in the chat and you had a show to present your information, you were over top of 100 people, probably for more than an hour and a half. I thought that was fair. Secondly,
what does that have to do with
no, hold on, bro.
Bro, what does that have to do with what I'm saying?
No, hold on. We talking about respect.
Nothing to do with what I'm talking about.
Hold on. We talking about respect and disrespect, right? Right now you disrespecting me.
No, I'm not.
Right now you disrespecting me. You had more time, right? We put you, gave you your own show for you to present your case.
And did I talk about anybody?
Hold on, let me finish my comment, sir. Right?
Bro, I'm not
technically
really even talking to you.
You were above.
I'm not even really talking to you. I'm
it's
not
my
even
channel,
really talking
so
to
you
you.
Are talking to me. You are
talking to Brass, because he's the only one.
This is my channel. This is my channel.
Oh, I understand.
This is my channel.
I see what it is.
See, you're acting like a person who should maybe not even be in the chat right now. You said the chat is wild.
Bro. If you want to get
me
off,
the chat is wild. You're being wild right now.
No. Stay on. No.
Stay here. I'll let you talk. Now let me
in my mind. I'm
now
telling you.
And I appreciate that.
Hold on. Just let me say my say.
And then let me go right after that.
This how I look at it. You had the platform, not 100 people in the chat. They couldn't come up here. They didn't come up here on the panel when you were speaking for almost 2 hours and interrupt you, call you names, any of that. And the reason you had your show is because you came into our chat. So don't forget, you were in the chat first. So the same people you disrespecting, you were one of them at one point. You had something to say. We gave you a chance to say what you had to say.
Bro,
no one led you to believe nothing.
With your nonsense, bro. You spinning this with the.
I will get you out of here. I will get you out of here, and you can blame me.
Get me out of here, bro.
Let me speak to him, Hits. Let me speak before
doctor,
y'all.
You a doctor? You a doctor? You sure you a doctor? Because you're acting like a patient right now. You're acting like a patient.
All right, let me speak to it. Let me speak to it real quick. I can't hear him.
whole show was disrespecting me. My name came up. Your moderators are disrespecting me. But you told me you didn't allow that. But you certainly are allowing it. Hicks.
All right, let me speak to something real quick. If you feel disrespected, I'm listening to you and I hear that. The one thing about our channel, I'm an 80s baby, so I don't know anything about the beginnings of hip hop. And I'm gonna keep this short because if somebody feels something, I never want to knock it out. As far as our mods, we do run our show differently. Our mods are not I don't know. I guess what mods normally do, they regulate the chat, they drop links and all this other stuff. We're a brand new channel. They're not here to drop links. They're not here to do that, all of that stuff. I take people in our chat who are people who honor us, who give us a lot of questions, who give us a lot of comments, who drive the algorithm. They do that. I make them mods. It's a respectful thing. No one is allowed to block anybody in our chat except me. Now, to say that we don't respect you, if that's how you feel, that's fine. A person can feel how they want to feel. But to be clear, if we did not respect you, there's no way we would have given you the first presentation of this long series. There'll probably be 1,000 presentations on hip hop that people are going to come in and watch. We're going to get Knock Meezy, we're going to get Dwan B, Tariq Nasheed, Lord Jamar, all these people. But you were the first one. And I've caught a lot of flack in supporting you. Even when I shout Dr. Cologne out in the chat, I know you're not here anymore, so I'm just speaking to the panel and the show. Even when Dr. Cologne is not, even every time I say shouts to Dr. Cologne, I put this up last week. Thank you for all of our mods, Knock Meezy, Truth Savior, D-Red, Dr. Cologne, FBA, ADOS, and Hip Hop for a great conversation. I got killed in the chat for it, but it's my platform, so I don't mind getting killed. I'm just the host. Last week when you did your presentation, I made sure that while I do put up every comment, I kept the ones that were disrespectful to you out of the chat. Now, the chat gets spicy. It's a spicy conversation. It's a lot of passion. You have a lot of passion. You're not here, so I hope you see this. I am a person that believes anybody who stands on their square, you are one person arguing a premise or the most vocal person, a visible person arguing a premise against an entire ocean of people. That's why I gave you the opportunity to speak first. So I just want to be clear. I actually respect your perspective. I respect that you have the heart to actually stand up and say the things that you do in the face of crazy amounts of information that say otherwise. You're welcome back on the panel anytime you want. You're welcome to come back in the show. I offered you and I opened you up to my Discord. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not really into the back and forth and all of that because at the end of the day, adults going to be adults.
He wasted his time on the panel, and I would implore anyone else who comes on the panel, don't waste your time. If you got a point, it's I think the people in the chat want to hear your point. That's it. Not about someone said, man, ain't nobody got time for that shit.
And the last point, hold on, the last point I want to remind.
I don't.
I understand. The last point I want to remind is stuff like this takes away. True Savior went out of his way as far as the disrespect. I just want to address the points because I don't address the emotion. I address the evidence. Truth Savior, if you run this show back, this is to the chat and the panel because we're going to have future guests and I don't want them to think, whatever. Truth Savior on numerous occasions said, this is not about Dr. Cologne. This is about the information. It just so happens that you and him have back and forths. So the questions that I'm asking, even though these are questions from me, these are questions or defenses that you set up. The Timbales, the Jimmy Castor, I think that's his name, the Latinization of James Brown. These are all topics that you discussed. So it may seem like it's directed at you, but it's directed at hip hop. So once again, I thank Dr. Cologne, Knock Meezy, the mods, FBA, ADOS. And last but not least, I always finish by saying I thank hip hop. Knock Meezy in the building. State your case, gangster.
You salute.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes,
Yo, shout out to the channel, the panel. I'm sorry, brother. Yeah, shout out to the channel, the panel, you know what I'm saying? The show, everybody. Here's a quick question. What part of hip hop is getting up here crying? Yo, get that man a tissue.
There's no crying in hip hop.
Ain't no crying in hip hop, man. He's like, but that's what he does, you know. And he's gone, so I'm not going to speak on him. But I want to thank Truth Savior for saying everything that I thought. You know, I freestyle it because I'm not like a historian. I'm just someone that was raised on hip hop, whose father was raised on hip hop, a real New York City brother with roots down south. That's the perspective I come from. But I'm glad that the conversation is taking place now. I thank you, Fat Joe, for bringing out this 50-50 lie and myth so that we can address it now. Because if we don't, in 20 years, then hip hop would have been that lie unchecked would have been, you know, the truth. You know, and in preparation for certain debates, I said, well, let me start looking at, you know, the Puerto Ricans in New York City from a positive standpoint, right? Because I'm kind of neutral on them, even though I live there and even though I speak Spanish, and I was accused of being a Puerto Rican because I'm a polyglot. I said, let me look at it from a positive perspective. Let's see what contributions musically that Puerto Ricans had. And a lot of the stuff that I thought was Puerto Rican was Dominican, was Cuban. I'm like, well, I know they was heavy into freestyle music. That was created by Black American Shannon in '83. So I'm like, what did Puerto Ricans create? What did they bring? Well, they created bomba. And that's where I lived in Puerto Rico, in Loíza, but those are Black Puerto Ricans. They're Black Puerto Ricans. So let's not act like there's not a difference between Black Puerto Ricans and white Puerto Ricans. Okay, there's a huge difference. That's a whole nother show about colorism in Latin America, specifically Puerto Rico. I'm tired of people trying to rewrite history, co-opt other groups from their own so-called nationality, because Puerto Rico is not a nation, and then trying to Latinoize it. You know, and they try to create this false narrative and then get other people on the bandwagon by claiming it was Latinos. I said, first of all, when I came, I said, it's not Puerto Ricans, it's Nuyoricans. Puerto Ricans didn't care nothing about hip hop. There's no origin story of hip hop in Puerto Rico, right? So then when you talk about Nuyoricans, okay, that's a conversation we can have. But now they're flipping it to say Caribbean and Greater Latino. Well, let's go down that route. Let's go. Gerardo, Rico Suave. Y'all remember that song? Are, Rico, right? That he wasn't Puerto Rican, he was Ecuadorian. Cypress Hills, big group, Mexican from the West Coast. Kid Frost, La Raza, Mexican. Even on a hip hop level, Puerto Ricans haven't been the biggest, because if they were, or even if there was half of the influence and contribution, then they'd have the same legacy today. They don't. It's been a lie. And as far as disrespect is concerned, look, hip hop has always been a stand on your square music because it comes from the streets. So we're gonna stand on our square, and you have to be able to, you know, speak your piece in front of somebody. In what did we call it? We called it the cipher. But there was no crying in the cipher. If you misquoted one of the lessons, you got your stuff taken. That's a whole fact. You know, I don't understand how Dr. Cologne, and I'm going to speak on it because he was up here, but when you try to separate us from our culture and what we created, what turned out to be world culture, what that we created, it was embraced by the world. That's an attack on us. And whether people identify as foundational Black Americans, African Americans, or what, we're the same people. So yes, you're going to get smoke. It's going to get contentious. And let me apologize to the show for playing the sad violin music, but I started feeling bad for him.
That was your ass, though, man.
Yeah, that was no. I had to.
Don't be cutting my build off with no music. Unless you're a DJ.
Yeah, for the record,
Yo, I was muted.
I'm the one that muted you. That was me.
I was like, what
because you know me. Hey, because here's the thing: we got many shows we gonna do together, and I hope you know that if the situation was reversed, I do the same for you, just to keep the presentation clear, because I don't want to miss the fact that this is Truth Savior's show, and I'm gonna curse.
Okay,
right?
hold on.
He
I
did
got
an
one thing for
amazing
Knock
job. He did an
Measy.
amazing job.
Hold on, I got one thing for Knock Measy. Now that I know,
And we're not done.
Was rude.
All night.
Okay,
Play it again. Play it again. Play it one more time.
Was rude.
Thank you, brother. Like, and that's hip hop. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what we do. We're not gonna be on a panel with a bunch of brothers and some sisters in the chat and get up here and start crying. Oh,
Yeah.
y'all not being nice to me. This man accused me of not being black. He said I'm a fake this and I'm a wanna be that. That's disrespectful. Go to his chat, and what you have is a bunch of Africans and Caribbeans and self-hating Black Americans throwing shots, trying to erase us from our culture, trying to say that we have no culture. It goes unchecked. So when you step into the Coliseum, you gotta be ready to shoot the fair one. Every time I come around, he runs. So we already know what it is, because look, Tariq can't speak on New York City like I can speak on it. And they better hope that my father's too busy for me to interview him about the real relationship between Blacks and Puerto Ricans. Okay, y'all could take my word of it as a little shorty that was being led around Bronx, Brooklyn, and Manhattan when I was a kid, and I literally was led around by my hand. We used to sell balloons back in the day on the streets, train to train from Far Rock all the way up to the Bronx. So I've seen New York City because I beat the streets. So when you have somebody that represents New York to the fullest, then we can kind of push back on this fake narrative that's being pushed out. And it's a fake narrative. Like, instead of trying to claim our music, y'all should really try to create something outside of Bomba en Plena, right? That y'all created, because it wasn't salsa. Celia Cruz predates whoever they're calling the king of salsa. You know, and look, there's beauty in everyone's culture. Absolutely. I'm not going to say that, but musically, if Puerto Ricans created something in hip hop, or they created something that's relevant musically outside of their community, you know, I'd like to see it, because the math ain't mathing. So shout out to Dr. Cologne. When you get monetized, I'm going to super chat $5, which is symbolic of the price of a box of Kleenex, so he can cry his little tears and wipe his little face. Pobrecito.
Okay. Give me 1 second. Yo, peace to you, Doc. Stay up here with us if you can. I know it's late. What time you want me to call you tomorrow? Just put it in the private chat, and I'll call you exactly at that time. I want to let the other brothers get on, and then I want to let Logic and True Savior get on. And I will be remiss if I don't say this one more time. I wish I had the applause of sound. True Savior, I'm gonna curse. You kicked ass tonight, brother. The one thing I know is that when a person gives their perspective from a clean place, when they give their perspective, a lot of times I can always tell by the fervor that it drives in the room, whether or not it was effective or not. You said once before, I've seen so many videos the last couple of days, I don't want to mess this up. You can always tell who wins a conversation by the person that wakes up and makes videos the next day. So I'm very curious. Tomorrow, hopefully, will be an interesting day for all of us. Carrie, I'm gonna let you speak. I'm gonna let At get in, and then Logic, I'm gonna let you have your conversation with True Savior. We at the 2-hour mark, so I don't want to run this too long for True Savior. You're welcome to stay as long as you can, but I definitely want to let Logic and True Savior have a conversation. Carrie, you in the building. What's going on, G? And you look damn serious, by the way. Yes. You look like a very serious brother. Like you hear, like your middle name is Serious Business. Go go ahead, brother. Speak your piece.
Peace. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
All right. First and foremost, before I speak, may the Most High bless everybody in the room. I don't know any about that other stuff. I'm just here for good conversation and nothing more. You know what I'm
appreciate it.
All right. My name is Karev. I'm the CEO and owner of Heritage Hip Hop. If you ever see that logo in the back.
Oh, okay. Drop your information. Okay. Okay.
Heritage Hip Hop. Just to get into the conversation, I'll tell you a little bit about my background quickly. Heritage Hip Hop was made because I'm from New Jersey, and people from New Jersey don't ever get their story told.
Stop. What's up? I do this every time. True Savior will tell you.
What's up?
I was born in Ohio but raised in the bricks. So you said you from Jersey. Where are you from in New Jersey? I need to know.
County, represent the oranges.
Okay, yes, sir. Oh, hey,
enough of the Jersey stuff. Let's get on. Let the brother talk.
We having a cookout. This is now a 973.
Here we go with New Jersey.
551 201 cookout. Go ahead, brother. Matter of fact, you get the Summer Jam screen. Go ahead, brother.
All right, so I'm on my platform because people from New Jersey are high contributors in hip hop, and our story was not ever being told. And unfortunately, with hip hop in New Jersey, we have a lot of people who celebrate the 90s, but don't celebrate the people who were doing hip hop in New Jersey from the 80s. And after the 90s, everybody from 2005 to now, maybe early to 2005, gets ignored because there's only a certain amount of hip hop that's celebrated when it comes to hip hop. So when I made Heritage Hip Hop, it was not only to expose the world to New Jersey hip hop culture. I had the opportunity to learn world hip hop culture. And what I want to say is the argument of who created hip hop to me is baseless. It's very ignorant. Because if hip hop is based on peace, love, unity, and having fun, we're genuinely playing into a hand that's higher than music, but knee deep in how to kill our culture and our people. Because if you look at the basis of what hip hop is, peace was taken out because everybody has guns and wants to do pills and all this other shit in the mainstream. Not everybody. I've cussed people out who older than me who says all hip hop is violence and whatever, but you have a song like first you buy yourself a shotgun now, shoot him and he run like what you doing? So don't do that. So we have peace, we have love. We have more people who will talk about murder and praise a coffin and be ruled by fear than people who show love to each other in our community. And now that unity is being attacked, the end of hip hop will come with people not knowing who their true enemy is, and we're fighting a game over who did what and what is who. My issue is with this. Hip hop doesn't even start August 11, 1973, because hip hop has no origin birth date. Because if it is, we have a birth certificate. Now, in that class that KRS-One was talking about that started this whole viral video, I was in that class. I was sitting right there when I heard him say the comment. And instead of standing up to argue a teacher down, rule one of learning, be quick to listen and slow to speak. And when you listen to what people are saying about what hip hop is and what hip hop is not, the first issue I have with that is we call hip hop a culture, but most people don't even know how to define a culture. When it comes to what hip hop is, we have to understand what culture is. Culture is more than language, how to dress, how to dance. Culture is identity, patriarchs, dates, even a flag to show that you are a nation. And not only that, the passing down of knowledge to others so we don't have shit like this. And I think that's where we have a problem. Because in the class I was in, hip hop was agreed upon to have started August 11, 1973. Which means if it was agreed, there were other dates that went around. The Zulu Nation, as I was told, and I was shown in a letter, said hip hop started in 1974. And that was based off of their own thing. Miss Campbell, Cool DJ Herc, that party, that was August 11, 1973. So already we have two different dates, right? And when I heard Busta Rhymes say that blasphemous bullshit, it really angered me because if you listen to what makes up hip hop, all that stuff predates New York City. It predates New Amsterdam. It predates Turtle Island. I was going to the history of this continent before we get to all just defining things in today's rhetoric. Because if you want to talk about rapping was around in gospel music. Rapping was around in jazz terms. Even when if you remember the incident with Dr. Dre and Suge Knight got into the fight at the Grammys or whatever award show that is.
You're talking about the source.
Hey man, what are you doing? You're messing up my rap. Rap was always there as wordplay. and you had, I think it was the Legionnaires, that was the gospel group who was recorded as the first rap song in American history. That was already there. Graffiti and graphic art, you can go back to hieroglyphics if you want to take it there. If you want to look at breakdancing, there are 1935 videos, vaudeville videos of what we call today foundational Black Americans. There's videos of us doing the same dances that the Rocksteady brothers was doing in Beat Street and stuff, Wild Style and all that. That was already there. So you mean to tell me that not only do we have a country that makes money off of the divide of making Blacks, Puerto Ricans, whoever, they make money off of us bickering and bitching about something none of us control, because if we did, we wouldn't have economic problems because our children can eat off of our culture and our identity wouldn't be changing every 5 to 10 years. If we really had a hold of this conversation would not even exist. Now, being honest, because I wasn't around in 1973, being honest in my experience in life, we could talk about the division between Puerto Ricans. We could talk about the division with Blacks and Puerto Ricans. I see it today in Newark, New Jersey, in the school systems. I'm a teacher professionally, and I can tell you how one side of the city looks different than the other side of the city, especially how they allot funds for school from preschool up to high school. I can tell you how it's different. So there's always a separation. Now, when you talk about creation of what we're agreeing upon, I can see how people were there in the creation, but the foundation of it, I don't see it because it's always been deemed Black culture. And if people from another island, etc., want to say that they were there, of course you can be there, but it doesn't mean you created. I don't have an issue with people saying they're there. I just have an issue when it comes to we're going to further jump down this rabbit hole of pointing fingers and saying, well, who you're not, what you're not, but we can't even get our shit together to unify to tell the world who we are without other people trying to define us to those who are not part of our culture at all. That's all I'm saying.
Heritage, let me ask you a question. So while I got you up here, right, because I feel like you got a lot to say, but this is a True Savior show. I want to get back to him real quick. And there's a couple people on the panel. Can you leave your information? Are you interested in possibly doing a presentation on the channel?
Sure, why not? I got my own channel. I got presentations there. If y'all want to join, we could collab if you want.
Yeah, why not? Why not? I mean, they're gonna kill me because I always say this. People at the bottom compete, people at the top collaborate. So leave your information. Hopefully you join our Discord. We got some conversations. And you my brother from Jersey. So that'd be cool to have two Jersey brothers back to back. Pause. Damn.
Yeah, on, did that to yourself. Did that to yourself.
Go ahead. So what we'll do is put your information in the private the back chat, and then I'm gonna hit you up tomorrow, and let's link together because I want to hear everything you got to say, but I don't want to take away from our True Savior show. Act, you in the building, and Dream, you keep joining and leaving, so I don't know what's going on with your connection. Act, go ahead and state your piece, and I want to get right back to True Savior real quick. We're doing an after party, but I would be remiss if I didn't let True Savior and Logic have a conversation, and then allow Truth to close his own show. So Act, real quick, go ahead and state your case, gangster. We can't hear you if you're talking.
His mic is unmuted. Tell him go out and come back in.
His mic is unmuted. Go out and come back in. Go ahead, Logic and True Savior, and then Truth, I'm gonna allow you to close the show so we can start the after party. And DQ, we might have to start working on that track because I know tomorrow's gonna get spicy for us. Go ahead, Truth and Logic. Truth, do you have any questions for Logic first? Once again, Truth, all of your presentation and everything you gave is what started this. That lets me know that you was cooking for real. Truth, do you have any questions for Logic, or how do you want to have a quick conversation? It's based on you. I know we're keeping you. What do you have any questions for Logic, or Logic, do you have any questions for Truth?
Okay, I gotta kind of hear I kind of remember what Logic was actually trying to say. If I can remember correctly, I think he's asking the question, why are we making this divide why should we make a divide if it doesn't serve a better purpose in terms of a political, a better political outcome for Black Americans?
Yes.
Why?
What does that actually serve us? What is that contributing to our actual agenda here?
Okay, so for me, you're talking about two different things. Okay, and you got to remember, I would ask
Did
you
he
to
freeze or I froze?
Say that I froze, or can you hear me?
No, Logic, you froze, but we can hear you.
Okay.
If you want, go out and come back in. Go ahead, True.
All right, we're talking about two different things. We're talking about
how
do we benefit politically from hip hop, and how do we protect our culture? You could do both at the same time. I don't think it's a disservice to Black people to protect their culture, to set the record straight when someone is trying to tell you that they did something in your culture that you clearly know that they didn't. I don't know if you're aware of the kind of conversations that are going on right now amongst people that I talk to. They actually say Black American music is really not Black American music. The music that we know as Black American music, like jazz and rock and roll and blues and all of that, they say is a fusion of other cultures. So in other words, none of it belongs to us. We have no right to claim it. They say the same thing about vernacular. I was on a conversation with someone who said that we get a lot of our vernacular from Italians, from the mobsters or whatever the case may be. So you have, there's a growing sentiment among people out there that are trying to tell you, Black people, you really don't have a culture. Everything that you have that you think that is yours is a conglomeration of other cultures. How many times you ever heard people say Black Americans don't have culture? This is becoming evident when you hear the kind of things that are being talked about in some of these on social media. They literally wanted to pull us or disenfranchise us from our musical history. So you might not think it's important to defend it, but I differ from you. I do think it's important to defend it, because you're going to wake up one morning and someone's going to say, you Black people never did anything musically for America. Is that the kind of America you want to wake up to that day? Because it's happening now. There's inklings of that happening now. And this is what sparked my interest in this whole conversation. I'm like, hey, I'm going to do my part to prevent that from happening. And if I can open your eyes a little bit, Logic, to understand this erasure is happening as we speak. And if you're proud of Black American music and Black American culture, why would you be so willing to just say, it's everybody's? What's the big deal? Let's just have unity. Let's just have peace. You can have both. You can have that and defend your culture. Put people in their rightful place and tell them where they stand and where they're not supposed to stand. You don't allow people in your culture and take your heritage and legacy just for the sake of unity and kumbaya and all that kind of. No, you don't do that. You protect what's yours, but you can share it. And that's what we do as Black people. We always share our gifts to the world. We never prevented anyone from sharing and enjoying anything that we produce. But don't turn around and flip it and say, that don't come from you. Nothing comes from you. You had help from us. That is happening now. I think, Logic, you need to be aware of that. And I think maybe you're not. So you can speak if you want.
Hits, you're a fool with them. What's the names? Yeah. You're a fool.
Go
ahead, Logic. Speak it. Go ahead, Logic.
That I'm actually not saying, right? So
go ahead, Logic.
I'm not saying that Black people aren't the creators of it. I actually made that really clear when I first started talking. So I can acknowledge that there's a difference between creation and participation. I also said that when I first started talking. And I think I get to a point where, I find myself like I become a little reluctant to respond to people once I realized they were no longer having an intelligent conversation. Not saying that's what we're doing here, but I feel like if somebody were actually foolish enough to try to paint the argument and try to remove us from our creation, that's where it starts to become silly. Like maybe if you want to, attempt to include yourself in the creation, you know, I think you have a decent argument. But if your argument is as silly as to remove us from it, now I think you're just being silly, and you know that's not really for, you know, I wouldn't feel like that's for me to entertain. So I share your love for the Black community. I absolutely want to uplift the Black community. Right now, I feel like you know, I've actually, you know, throughout some even more of my studies, even I've done today, that the activism has a lot of different faces. Right, I think that you can participate in uplifting Black people, you know, in your own creative perspective way. Me personally, I would say that this conversation is more about, you know, our contribution to, like you say, musical history, right? I mean, if somebody told me what you said, that if they told me, I would be I would be so taken back at the stupidity of the comment that I might not respond. Right, I might not value a person's opinion who to me seems to be that silly. Not saying that's what you're doing, but I get your enthusiasm as far as wanting to protect our Blackness, our culture, right? I am in some ways attempting to allow you to become aware that our Blackness and culture and contributions don't solely reside in the contributions of hip hop. I think that there's a lot of things that Black people can be um, uh, very feel very accomplished by. I think that there are a lot of different ways that we can show our creativity and our contributions to America, aside from hip hop, and hip hop maybe being a big contribution. But as we maybe have this conversation with a more forward thinking solutioned approach, right? I think that in the grand scheme of things, if we are not able to convert hip hop into that solution as we are moving forward, that is where I'm asking you to tell me, what are you protecting? Are you actually are you attempting to protect the art? Are you attempting to protect the movement? Right? Is this somehow slowing down the progress of what you're actually trying to accomplish? You get what I'm saying? See, my accomplishments are pretty clear. I can state that very shortly, very simply. I would love to figure out, you know, ways that we can uplift the Black community, you know, protect the Black identity, so on and so forth. Now, in that, how can I use hip hop to do it? Is where I am asking you to give me that part of what you're protecting.
Okay,
Was that clear?
I believe so. I think you have a misconception of what I'm about. This conversation was about hip hop. But if you, I could tell you probably haven't watched any of my videos on my channel. That's not the only thing I talk about on my channel. I talk about other things other than that, political things as well. But this particular topic was about hip hop. So I'm not. That's not who I am totally. So I think when you question me about that's all I'm about, and I'm trying to think that that's all of what Black Americans should be consumed. No, 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 no. That's not who I am. But this particular topic was about hip hop. I talk about jazz history. I don't know if you heard me talk about Latin jazz and the beginning of jazz. I touched on things of that nature as well, because I'm versed in those areas as well. So don't pigeonhole me into just hip hop. And I think that's the only thing Black people should be concerned about. If that's what you think of me, you got me all wrong.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. You was about to say you got me all fucked up, wasn't you?
Yeah.
Tell the truth.
Yeah. He got me all fucked up. That's for sure. If that's what he thinks, no. Just watch my videos and maybe you get an idea who I am. I don't think you know who I am. Okay? And you'll see that I'm a little bit more versatile than you think.
Go ahead, Logic. You have a response, and then I want to get to the other people on the panel.
No, I mean, look, I wasn't really, attempting to make it like, to make it seem like I'm being judgmental or trying to paint you in a box. I was, to some way politely challenging you, challenging the whole message about, what is at the end of this, right? Like what are we actually accomplishing that we can use for tomorrow in this particular conversation that we're up here having right now. So I'm saying that if that's what your priority is, if your priority is how much you love the black people and you want to see them further their goals and their images and these things, I was asking for where's the contribution. And I mean, look, you gave me your answer, and if you would like to elaborate, that's cool. And if not, I understand. But that's what I'm actually asking, and hopefully I made it clear enough for you to at least,
let me
not
just
be confused by what I'm saying or trying to paint you in some kind of box.
Right. Okay. It's cool. Let me just say this. The erasure is happening, not just in hip hop, everywhere on a political scene. It's happening. And so that's why I said, don't pigeonhole me into hip hop. I spoke about, like I said on my channel, I talk about political things that are happening. You talk about the erasure of Black American studies in these institutions, things of that nature. A lot of states in the country eliminating any reference to slavery. Things are happening. Hip hop is just one aspect of the erasure. And that's what the topic of this discussion is today. But I could talk about the school systems around America, what they're trying to do in terms of erasure. I'm sure the brother who spoke earlier could speak to that as well. So on the political scene, we are being erased on so many different levels. So when I stand up for Black American music culture and history, Lord knows we can't lose that. That's one of our biggest prizes that gives to the world. And if we sit back and let people reclaim it and rewrite the history, it's going to be true. Black people don't have a culture. Black people haven't created anything. That's going to be in the textbooks 20, 30 years from now. I'm doing my part to prevent that. So, brother, I can see you say it's happening now. So that's my point. We are being erased as we speak. And for you to act, and respectfully for you to say, oh, what, it doesn't really matter. What does it matter? Shouldn't we be about unity? Oh, well, you could be about unity. You could be about unity and still protect your culture. You could do both. Me protecting my culture and protecting my history has nothing to do with me unifying with Latinos or Asians. They would respect me for defending who I am. Just like they would take pride in defending who they are and what they represent. They would not allow you to claim anything that they've done. But somehow Black people are supposed to sit back and let other groups feel comfortable. Enough of being comfortable. Enough of making white people or anybody feel comfortable at our expense. We need to wake up and realize we can have unity, but protect who you are and where you come from. That's all you have as Black people in this country.
Just speaking to that point, then I'm gonna get to you, Ack, and then Dream. Speaking to that point, and my brother Logic, like I said, he's in a forever journey of truth. He's got a show coming up that's gonna be really exciting. Hopefully you check it out. Speaking to that, I watched a couple shows on what happened in Chicago last weekend. Over 100 shot over 4th of July weekend. And when I kind of expressed my gall at what was going on in Chicago, now somebody just put in the chat, Chicago closed down 30 schools last year, then I'm not surprised that 100 people got shot. And I was even more upset because when I said I can't believe that 100 people got shot last 4th of July weekend, they told me that this has been going on for decades. That 4th of July weekend in Chicago is like one of the bloodiest weekends in Chicago's history for the past 20 years. So even when people go out to celebrate, whether you feel the 4th of July is official or not official, that doesn't matter. That's not what the conversation I'm having. But the fact that people are getting together with family and this, that, and the other to basically go out and pick a murder weekend where it's 100 people getting shot. They said one weekend it was 200 people got shot. That's wild. And that's why I thought that comment, I think that's fire, James, as you said, they closed down 30 schools in Chicago. So that's going to kind of the political conversations. And that's where we move. We're going to be moving the meter a little bit with Knock Measy. The conversation we have with Knock Measy will be somewhat hip hop, but mainly on a political stance. Go ahead, Dream, go ahead, and I'm gonna let Truth close the show, then we'll start the after party.
All right, what's up, fellas? How y'all doing today? I really appreciate you guys.
I hate to put a timer on you, but 90 seconds because I got to get Truth Savior out of here, and you're welcome to stay for the after party. Go ahead, brother, speak your piece.
All right, cool. I'm just gonna say a few things. I want a little bit longer, but I got you. So This conversation about hip hop to me is about cultural proprietorship. Who owns it? Currently, we don't own it, but at some point, we gotta sound the alarm to let people know that we should never let people own our cultural image, our cultural music, anything, because they do put out trap music, too much drill music, Sexy Red. So this is what this conversation is about. And if we gotta give away our culture, bend over backwards, the hell with unity. I don't care about unity. I'm gonna make this last comment, and this is something that every person on this panel needs to think about. When we were fighting for civil rights, okay, Mexicans were categorized as white. Look up this guy. His name is Felix Terahini, okay? He pretty much said that that civil rights fight that the blacks are fighting is not for us. So what happened was when we got civil rights, they were still categorized as white. What they did was they pulled out of whiteness, categorized themselves as Latino, and hopped on to our civil rights that we fought and we died for. So what we have to be careful about is trying to unify or to create some type of coalition with a group of people who don't care for us or who we can't punish. We need to look out for ourselves because we're always letting other people jump on our bandwagon in the name of unity. And that's pretty much it. Thanks, True Savior, for all you do too.
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Ak. You always come up and give us good commentary. I appreciate you for that.
Later.
Hey, go ahead, Dream, and then we're gonna get into True Savior, close the show, and then we're gonna go into the after party. DQ, you staying with me, or where you at? Yeah, I know you always down for a party. Go ahead. I know we passed Hit's bedtime. You over there nodding and whatnot.
Watch it.
All right. You got it. Go ahead, Dream. Speak. 90 seconds, G, and you're welcome to stay after. Go ahead, bro.
Peace. I love when I get a clock. I just wanted to speak to what
Truth give you no time at all.
You're right. Thanks for letting me in, by the way. Just to speak to what Truth Savior said about that they're trying to steal our culture. We spoke. I asked about the hip hop museum, and he said that the hip hop museum had it 50-50. And I think they actually have it. If you go to the Hip Hop Museum's website, the museum opens in 2025, and the on the website it actually gives a primary influence to 3 groups. It says it's Caribbean, Latinos, and the third one, interestingly enough, is not African American. The third one is African. So I do see where True Savior is coming from in terms of that aspect, because I expected it to be African American at the very least. So it sounds as if, unless they're saying, they're counting African American as just African, but it doesn't say African American, it just says African. And, if we remember that, if you also look at the website, you'll see that these are people that have doctorates in studying Black history, and some of them in hip hop history in particular. So if we were having another conversation about something else, we would say these are the people that we would consider to be the experts. And so according to the experts, the primary influences are Caribbean, Latino, and African, and nowhere does it mention African American. So I guess I'm just wondering, are we gonna, is the side that's saying it's African American, are we gonna try and boycott the museum? Are we gonna try and make phone calls and try to influence them to kind of change the direction of what they're saying, at least make it say African American? Do we have any plans on approaching it that way? Because the Hip Hop Museum is a big deal, and I would imagine that we would have some interest. If we think we own hip hop, we should have some interest in the direction that the museum is taking. And that's about it.
You want to speak to that, Truth? Or was that a question, or was that a statement to Truth?
No, I think I was given 90 seconds to just make a statement. He can speak to it, but it was more of a statement than a question, but he can absolutely speak to it.
Okay, take another 30 seconds and form it into a question.
Well, hold on. They got 7 values, so I have that up on the screen. So I'm gonna scroll while you guys are talking about it, which seems outside of the 4 pillars laid down by Africa Bambaataa, I believe. So the museum has a different, obviously, aspect because they have 7. So go ahead, y'all.
No, that's actually not the section that I looked at. There was a section where they spoke about the 5 pillars, the influences. It was a different section of the website. But just to formulate my question, my statement into a question, the question is, do we, like for Truth Savior, do you think that African Americans have a vested interest in kind of making sure that the museum gets hip hop history correct? And, are we going to be boycotting them, writing letters? If we go to the museum and see that it's not representing hip hop the way we feel like it's not representing it, do we have a responsibility to kind of do something about it?
Well, I believe if we don't care about erasure, then we don't do anything. So those who care about erasure, clearly, if you're saying it's true about the pillars of hip hop and African Americans not even mentioned, that's a problem. Now, the problem is a lot of African Americans, we kind of lazy. We sit on our butts and let stuff happen. Certainly there should be some kind of boycott if that's the actual pillars and those are the actual influences. And so, yeah, I would agree there should be.
All right, brother. Truth. I got enemies.
I still don't see the page you're talking about, Dream. If you could let me know the page in the back chat, I'll pull it up so people can read it. But I'm
absolutely. I don't know if the mobile site looks different from the desktop site that you're looking at. Gotcha. But yeah, I will absolutely share it in the back chat.
Bet.
I think I agree with DJ Biggs. I think we need to make our own damn museum, and I'd be down to put a lot of bread behind that. I think we should make our own museum. If this is something that is, one of the things that happens, I know when the culture is, and I'm not saying that that's what this museum is doing, but I do know one of the things that happens politically, because that's more where I go, politics, is I know that one of the things that are done when you're trying to erase a culture or remove a culture, people with money, instead of having conversations on YouTube or have conversations this, that, and the other, one of the things they'll do is they'll start creating museums, they'll start doing commercials, they'll start doing things like that. So a lot of times I tell people, put your money where your mouth is. If you really want this representation out here, then why not? Why not create a museum based on in and around the evidence that you have that it's created by African Americans with everybody else giving contributions. So I put that challenge out to everyone, FBA, ADOS, African Americans, curators of the origins of hip hop. If you want to protect it, don't just talk about it. Let's get into a position where we can create some mediums that are protected for decades to come. It's not about what we see or what we believe. It's what our kids see when we're long gone. It's about children. It's about hip hop.
And y'all didn't hear it here first. Let me just jump in. Y'all didn't hear it here first, but always follow the money, right? I'm sure you didn't hear that here, but here's a list of their donors. It just says $10,000 plus, so you can always find out who donates to museum, organizations, foundations, funds. A lot of that stuff is public information, so this is their list of people who donated more than $10,000 for the museum. So if you recognize any of these names, you see Lear Cohen, Live Nation, Rock the Bells, Sid Sankaran, John Sylvan. I'm sure if you look iHeart Impact, Google, Goliath, Streamlabs, Mindy and Adam Silverstein.
Yeah, I'm familiar with
I'm sorry.
Adam.
I'm sorry, Hicks. Is that the are you on the hiphopmuseum.org?
Yes. If you you can't see the
yeah, if you go to the section that says hip hop facts, hip hop FAQs.
So that must be under. Hold on. Y'all see my screen, right? I'm going through all the tabs. I see about, who we are, partners, get involved, journey, contact, careers, education. Let's go to education. Maybe it's in there.
By the way, you're a fraud. That's a fire comment. That's kind of what Logic is saying. You want to boycott the museum, meanwhile the KKK is still around. I'm done. I think that's a fire comment. That's a fire perspective.
That's the corner. Hold on, let's go to the corner. News and press.
And then Truth, I'm gonna bring you in so you can close out. We'll start this after party.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you're looking for hip hop FAQs. Frequently asked questions.
Let Truth close out, and I'll find that for the after
party. Yeah, we
party.
can do that in the after party. I want to get the chat up here so they can speak and do that, because this is it's Truth show. What up, Enemies Public? I'm gonna get stick around for the after party, bro. I want to hear your perspective. Hopefully you checked out the show. I think this is a very good show to do right after the show we did last week. It's a completely different perspective, right? And I think all the perspectives should be heard. At least on this channel, they will be. All the different perspectives will be heard. Enemies Public, Heritage is in the building. They come from more of a Jersey thing, so I'm challenging my brothers. You tell me what I need to do, if it's got to be a collaboration with y'all channels, whatever it is. But I would love to do a show on the Jersey origins of hip hop. Because see, Newburgh, New York had nothing to do with hip hop whatsoever. So Hits is gonna fight me tooth and nail to do a show about how Newburgh, New York somehow had something to do with it. But I got two brothers.
Don't be shouting out my hometown. Don't be doing that.
You just shouted out your hometown. I didn't.
Say nothing about
moving forward. But I got two brothers in here that speak about it specifically from Jersey. So hopefully we can get together and do a show specifically on that. Y'all let me know what we need to do to make sure that your channels are properly placed also. So Truth, take us out. Let me put this banner back up. Take as much time as you need, and then we're gonna start the after party.
I'm going to make this really short. I just want to, first of all, thank you all for inviting me to speak and, give a little bit of what I've learned over my years. I've never taken the position that other cultures weren't involved or contribute greatly to the development of hip hop. My focus has merely been on the foundation. And so when you speak, and the brother spoke to the dancing that you could trace to the 20s and 30s and 40s, the vernacular you could trace to the 20s, 30s, and 40s, even the DJing culture you could trace even far back into the 50s, where Black DJs were finally given an opportunity to appear on radio. And so when you look at that history, it's hard to imagine that hip hop doesn't come from that historical place. And so what's my problem has always been is hearing that people will say, oh no, it doesn't come from there. But then when you ask people to show in your culture any similarities, they can't do it. But they're so quick to say it doesn't come from you. So I'm not here to say who was the person who actually created what. I'm here to say who are the people that laid the foundation to this culture. And without question, it's Black American culture. So with that, that's pretty much all I want to say.
Boom, mic drop.
Facts.
Yeah, I want to send it out to you. Listen, I always have, before every game, if you was an athlete, you're always nervous before these shows to see how the people going to take the information or how they're going to appreciate it. Last week's show got over 2,000 views based on that perspective. I think I put a challenge out. Like and share the show. I think this should be our biggest show. And this is why I say that. Not because it's, the title is Hip Hop is 1000% Black American FBA culture, period. But that's not why I want it to be the largest show that we have. The reason why I want this to be the largest show that we have is because, one, Truth came up here and literally gave us information based off what he's researched and the evidence that he's seen. But I want to applaud you for something completely off the topic of hip hop and everything. It got a little spicy here about 45 minutes ago. And you conducted yourself with the utmost class, the utmost respect for our platform, the utmost respect for the content, because this content lives on. So hopefully, I hope that this show gets shared simply to show that when you're strong in your information, and it doesn't always have to be about the mess. It can purely be about the message. The class you showed and not responding, not getting down in the muck and letting people beat you up with ignorance. I truly appreciate that because I love my platform. I love the business that me and my brothers Hits, DQ, and Logic started, and I appreciate the class that you showed. You kept it real classy on our panel.
Thank
and
you.
that's from me to you, brother. I take that kind of stuff very serious.
Yeah,
I take
have you
that
back
very
at any
serious.
time, guys. If you
Bro, let me tell you something. You are now family. You don't need. You got my information. You could just literally, whenever you want to come up, even if you want to sit here and just whatever we talk about, because we're about to get into more political conversations.
Okay.
We have some FBA shows coming up. We have some ADOS shows coming up. Logic is going to do his damnedest to get us banned off YouTube, and but even with his perspective, so you can always just text me, bro, and just tell me, just hit link, and I'll always give it to you. I promise you, from this point forward, you my brother, because that kind of class, right, it's not only has to be shown by the elders, it has to be shown by all of us. And the fact that you kept it together, I appreciate it, brother.
You're quite welcome. Quite welcome.
All right, y'all.
All right, guys.
Yes, sir. You have a good one. We got the after party. We got the after party coming up shortly after a break. We had 349 subscribers. Take about 5 minutes. We're gonna play some music. If you stay with us, you stay with us. If you don't, you don't. But I want to get Enemies Public up here. Heritage has been up here, and now I want to bring the chat. Knockmeezy has been up here. I want to bring the chat up. Y'all discuss the show, and we'll just have a little random discussion for a while, and then we'll move from there. So, with that. Because I got to chop this show up, and Hits is going to kill me if I let it run any longer. Yes, I know. So let me get the banner up. After party. We're not going nowhere. We're just putting up. We're about to start the after party. And then we will be right back.
Yeah. DQ. Check. Have you ever had a dream in the daytime? Had the same dream since the playground. If you made it come true, cause you stay down. Nigga, have you ever really thought about the limelight? In the room full of stars when you shine bright. I'ma make the right move when the time right. Alright. Nigga, have you ever had a dream during the daytime? Had the same dream since the playground. If you made it come true, cause you stay down. Nigga, have you ever really thought about the limelight? In the room full of stars when you shine bright. I'ma make the right move when the time right. Calculated every step, so I can't stand a hater out here hating on. Niggas out here making moves. See a hand out the type of shit they waiting on.
Check, look, bad
Bitch napping in the hammock in the Hamptons. Business fresh tie with the handkerchief napkin. Flex bubble wind reverse hoops when I'm camping. Camel print tent getting pitched by the mansion. My Cali boys ready for expansion. And we gon' make it ready when it happens. Headed to the shop, about to spend a couple dollars. $1,000 spent, Gucci print on the collar. 10 on the windows, dripping grain like a koala. We color leather looking like an empanada. Rims the size of Tyler's, nigga floating like an otter. Shout out West Texas, they see you my automata. You outta. Holla at your boy and get some product. Fresh Mach 1 or some bacho gelato. My nigga place an order, we gon' hit you tomorrow. My brother busting bricks like the jigsaw in China. Leland, tap, tap, tap on your touch screen. Every single day, the same routine. You click refresh once again, and I got the same thing. Tried everything I could do. At this point, I have no clue. I gotta tell myself the truth. I just need an upgrade, an upgrade.
I'm sorry, DQ. I'm sorry, bro. I gotta hear it, bro.
Shout out S1.
Prophecy and profit, what a nigga need. Getting cracker money off this nigga weed. God got the wheel and the dice indeed. We betting 70 on 6 like Joel and B. Prophecy and profit, all a nigga need. Cracker money off this nigga weed. Good morning to the most high. And good night to the bad guy. My southern humor is quite nostalgic. I really can't live without it. My family, they always rooted, but pessimists truly doubt it. A testament how I'm blessed and finesse, but I'm truly balanced. Outdoors, man, moving books while I move a mountain. Somewhere just hookah lounging. Nigga just hookah balling on suckers who do be counting. The profit margin of your pocket watching is quite astounding. Secretly peeping me frequently, I was out of town.
Talk to him.
Prophecy and profit, what a nigga need. Getting cracker money off this nigga weed. God got the wheel and the dice indeed. We betting 70 on 6 like Joel and B. Prophecy and profit, all a nigga need. Cracker money off this nigga weed. Good morning to the most high. And good night to the bad guy. The sativa I get split down to nuggets and bits, then rolled in the dozen of sticks. The quarter pound bust down to 3.6. I show love cause these custos fit. They'll switch up quick. The indica that I'm sitting here, a signature top shelf. Midgets need help just to get it, bro. You want that wax, then we dab red, kid it up, sit it up. Niggas smell the turk before we lit it up. Prophecy and profit, all a nigga need. Cracker money off this nigga weed. Good morning to the most high. And good night to the bad guy. Prophecy and profit, all a nigga need. Cracker money off this nigga weed. Good morning to the most high. And good night to the bad guy.
All right. We back at it.
We in the after party now.
Hold on. Fix the screen so everybody up there.
All right.
Yeah, you know trouble get ready to happen, right?
Yep, go ahead, boss.
I like to challenge Dr. Cologne to a heavyweight championship fight at WrestleMania 2025 in a steel cage. God. No information, no history, no name calling, no nothing. He could come get some of the. There you go.
Oh my God.
Look, right there.
Oh my God.
There it is. I know the camera backer, but you see it. Yeah, it don't say Ric Flair's thing, none of that. So Dr. Cologne, anytime you want it, you come on and get some of the world heavyweight champion. I got some for you.
Oh my God. Oh man.
And then maybe me and Brass, if he get a tag team partner, we'll go for the tag team.
Well, me and Logic, I take Logic all day. I know you didn't put a damn Omeg head. Your Logic is hilarious.
I can't get in the ring if you ain't got no belts.
Now wait a minute, Enemies Public got a belt too. What's up with you and all? What's up with y'all and all these belts? Yeah, You shooting at me. Hey, there go my tag team partner right there,
I'll be right back. You know I'm coming back with something different. I don't appreciate that. I'm not going for that one. That's the blue belt.
All right, knock me's. Well, enemy knock. Let me get enemies public. He hasn't spoken yet. Enemies. I hope you got a chance to catch the show. Go ahead, boss. Speak your piece.
I just finished doing a show. Actually,
okay, talk about it.
About whose greatness or myths, ours or theirs, dealing with the so-called greatness of America. Whose greatness or a myth, and I just showed all the patents and inventions that were stolen from my people. So I did a presentation on that, and then I caught the tail end of the show. But when I came in, the brother was spitting fire. Whoever it was, the last one who spoke, he was going in. And I agree with everything that brother was saying. He was going in. But as far as like the donors of the museum, they are the co-conspirators. We got to understand that. Those donors are the co-conspirators of trying to steal the culture. You got to understand that. When you see the likes of Liar, Cohen, and all them, those are culture vultures. So they are the co-conspirators of those who trying to steal the culture. So we have to understand that and go according to that. But as far as the brother said, like we should do our own museum, I'm with that. And as far as the KKK, that is the KKK. They're sponsoring the museum. So, that's how I feel about that.
Yeah, with me, I'm always my father always taught me to okay, we got Rogish in the building, we got Dream in the building. I was always taught, I know you ain't got on a damn I can curse now. I know you ain't got on a goddamn Iron Man helmet live on YouTube. You are a wild Negro.
Iron Man? Nah, cuz this is liquor, homie.
No. Look at the screen. Look at the screen. He got on the Hits got on a Iron Man helmet. Yeah. You see it, Rogish?
Okay. I thought you were talking about the emblem, man.
Oh no, I like the wars. I'm with it. One of the things that I like to do when everybody talks about conversations, and they, one thing I've realized in my short time on this earth is people about a lot of talk, bro. Motherfucker talk all day long, talk because they got lips, but when it comes down to it, I've been out there running these political campaigns, but as soon as you bring up money, the conversation changes. And if you ever want to get your culture erased, have somebody put a couple $1 million behind a campaign to erase it while we all just get up on YouTube and just have conversations. At some point, we need to pull this money together and protect it, not for us, right? Whenever you want to do major change, it's never for you. Hopefully, the change that you're trying to protect or the culture that you're trying to protect is something that's going to last for the babies and the babies' babies, right? Indeed. It's something that you protect for that, not for me. Even if I started the wave to get a hip hop museum for us, by us, per se, I wouldn't even be looking for it to be built in the time that I'm alive, because I want it to be that powerful that it stands the test of time, like the Met or the Smithsonian or something like that. So I'm always, every single time, my brothers know this, I'm always about, listen, we could talk and we can have great discourse and that has its place, but at some point we sit down to the table, break bread, and get these buildings going, and build it up. Knock Meezy, what's going on, G? I know you in the you out there, so I know your time.
Yes, and I've been I got up at like 2:00 in the morning and saw you live or whatever. So now I'm just staying up. I got to be at work pretty soon, so I'm just rocking out with y'all. But I appreciate the Iron Man mask more than I appreciate this goofy ass Olmec head. Logic, what's up with that Olmec head, man? You think your people come from the Amazon or something? What's up, Logic?
No, they in the chat. I don't know how he caught this comment. That's why I'm so interested in him doing the show. Somebody at a comment or in the chat said Logic looks like the Olmec head. So now he's
Oh,
trolling.
okay. All right. He's
About,
just
about putting himself in
that shit
front
is
of the
that's
Oleg
nasty
head.
work,
I think
man.
it's fire. That's nasty work. Yes, that is definitely nasty work. That is nasty work. But that's why you gotta love him.
Well, I do have another thing. One last thing. Brother American Dream. There can't be two of us with the shiesty mask. You know, the Jux mask. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you had it before me, brother, but there can't be two of us. We might have to do a duel, man, for real.
I don't know. I don't know who after y'all, but damn, I hope they don't catch y'all. Whoever after y'all, I hope they don't catch y'all.
Hey, while y'all up here, before you go knock knees in, trust and believe, I'm gonna call you 12 p.m. Jersey time tomorrow. When you put out a challenge to Cuban last week
Right.
about a conversation, more of a political conversation. I honestly think, and I don't know if you'll be with it, but I'd love to set this up. And I'm not putting you on the spot. I'm gonna talk to you privately tomorrow. I think that conversation would be better had with American Dream and Logic. And walk with me while I say this, because those kinds of conversations, we became a hip hop channel. I gotta thank you. We're over another 250 subscribers since I can't even 300 subscribers since you first put the challenge out to the public. But that show, I think it would be better served with Dream specifically and Logic specifically, because they are more of a political conversation. A lot of times when people say Logic is not getting to the point, is because, to be quite honest, he's not really talking about hip hop. And when you challenged me, and I appreciate it, I love when somebody challenges me on that level of, listen, I've been talking about hip hop all this time. That's not really what I want to talk about. I want to have a different conversation. I think y'all three would be a fire show to put together, to have a real FBA ADOS conversation and how we can move forward. So
I'm
I
with
think
it.
that would be a better conversation. Yeah, I think
I'm
that would
with
be
it. The reason why I challenged the Cuban guy is because he was like kind of throwing shots at Black Americans. You know, for our brothers on here, you know what I'm saying? We could build. I'm down for a build, but I want to gently correct you. It's not New Jersey time. New Jersey is the little brother of New York, so it's New York City time.
And hold
Let's
on,
not get it twisted, bro. New Jersey is the retarded little brother of New York.
No, hold on. For the record,
go ahead, Hitson, and I
was not
respond.
throwing
Go
no
ahead,
shots at Black people. That don't even sound like.
Cuban,
was
no.
misunderstood. Yeah, that's
it was misread. But onto this New York, New Jersey time. What I'm gonna do to you, Knock Measy, I'm gonna call you on NYC time standard tomorrow at 12.
Yeah.
And I'm going to exhibit the same class that Truth Savior exhibited when the panel was hijacked earlier. I'm gonna say I appreciate you. There's no way I could ever go against you, but privately, me and you gonna have a conversation about New Jersey time tomorrow at 12 o'clock.
Dr. Cologne made me break character. Dr. Cologne made me break
Let's
character.
keep it 100. Let's
brother,
be in the after party now, but like, come
man.
on, y'all know New Jersey dude's been living in the shadow of New York. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody was jacking 973, 908. I lived out there, and all the girls like the New York guys. You know what I'm saying?
I find it interesting. You know what's funny? I actually feel pretty good that you said this right now, because I got Heritage and I got the Enemies Public in the building.
I mean, only thing I got to worry about is y'all stealing our cars. I mean, that's all New Jersey's known for.
Man, out of here with that one, bro.
Hey, I was back in the day.
Man.
Hey,
hold on, let the
Jersey Drive,
public bill.
They might as well put me in the movie New Jersey Drive. Go ahead, Enemies Public. Appreciate you, Knock. I'm gonna call you tomorrow, boss. Go ahead, Enemies Public. Go ahead, Heritage, and then we're gonna get into that.
Funny.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
Yeah, but
okay, I got it.
The coach, as far as the culture, all the New York heads, what did they have to come to actually put their lyrics down?
That's 1979. Not
they still have to come
over. Here you go, capping for Knock.
You still have to come over here though. That's the foundation. You cannot build nothing without a foundation.
She had to bring that money to Manhattan though to put it in the bank. So let's leave it at that.
Like we ain't got no banks.
But you got to understand, though, Bergen County is a upscale area.
Say that one more
Bergen
time.
County. It's Bergen County. We can't even drive through there without getting pulled over.
And that's where the God lives right now, Bergen County. Just so y'all know, I grew up in Newark, but even I had to. My father upgraded our family. We did the Jeffersons and moved on up to Bergen County. I go
Grandmaster Flash had a problem with Mr. and Mrs. Robinson, so I'll say that for later. Go ahead.
What artist didn't though? What artist didn't have a problem with her though?
Any record label, right? Not just them.
Exactly.
And that's unfair.
Exactly.
Like
exactly.
That's a record label. There's standard operating procedure. Go ahead, bro.
Indeed. I agree with that.
All right, Logic. I saw Logic and Dream. Are y'all down for that show with Knock before I let him go?
I ain't got to go.
By the way,
I'm good.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
good.
no. Hey, listen, I'm disrespectful
he
your
ain't like
time.
the Jersey thing. He trying to kick me off now. Damn,
Nah,
bro.
I know, brother. I know the time zone. Listen, I hear everything that you say. The fact that you got up at 2 a.m. to watch our show is why I show you the utmost respect, boss. So
I appreciate
anytime,
you,
yeah. That's why it's never to go. You can stay as long as you want. D-Mac and Truth Savior, you're now mods of the channel. I appreciate your comments today. Just let y'all know I paid attention. By the way, let me shout out the mods that we already have. China Black, you've been cooking all day long. James, you've been cooking all day long. Melanated Warrior, you've been cooking. ABHS, y'all been cooking. If I don't mention you, it's not because I forgot your name. It's just we've been live for now 3 hours. This after party's gonna go another 45 minutes. Get the likes up to 100 at least. And we crossed the 350 threshold. Every time Knock Meezy comes here, we reach some kind of threshold with our subscribers. And that's why it's always entertaining when we can do it such a small channel, have so many people watching at one time. We had over 140 people in the building at one time with only 350 subscribers. So I think we on to the right the right conversation. Nick Ombre, if you want to be a mod, I appreciate you. Just let me know. I don't always force that on people, but you've been with us for the last 2 months or so. Let me know. You've definitely earned it, but based on your comments, you just let me know if you don't mind, and that's cool with me. Heritage, go ahead and speak, boss. And then Logic. I don't think you
what you want me to talk about?
Oh, I don't know. This is the after party. We about to close up shop.
I like to say,
I'm gonna email you tomorrow. Yes.
Can you talk about a little bit more about those points that you were making? I think about how the conversation being baseless. I was definitely, I was bobbing my head to that part. I ain't gonna lie, I was feeling that what you was talking about.
About when I said the argument is baseless over who created hip hop.
Yeah.
All right, easy. Before I do that, shout out to everybody who said I'm Latino in the chat. Y'all are hilarious, and I'm not. So fuck that.
I can't funny as hell, bro.
So I will say this. No, I think it's baseless because it's our culture. When hip hop first was going on in this country, it was shamed upon. No one wanted to say they started it back then. It was our thing. You see what I'm saying? And now that hip hop makes money, it wants to be hijacked from us. Like everything we do that is lucrative in this world. The Bible says that God's children are the salt of the earth, which means by salt, we make that shit flavorful and we keep it good. When you throw the salt away, the shit goes to hell. When they start throwing us and our culture to the side, act like they have it, it falls the fuck off. It gets garbage. It's baseless to me because when it was hated and nobody wanted to be a part of it, it was all us. Now that it means something, now people want to hijack and take it. And I think it's not unfortunate, it's evil. And for us to allow it is bad. Wow. And to only say it's hip hop is political first and foremost, but to just keep it on hip hop, isn't it funny how when hip hop was first here, every white person wanted to be hip hop, but then when they got in trouble with the law, they used hip hop as an excuse to why they were in a bad time in their lives. And every culture does it, and it's always stuck on us because that's our identity. Now everybody wants to make it theirs. Wants to make it theirs. if we look at it in the timeline for what hip hop is, how it was groomed, or what we call hip hop, it's always been ours. So even in that class that KRS-One had, where he said blacks, especially the Puerto Ricans and the Jamaicans, and all of them came together to do it. Yes, when the media came, that's when everybody saw them at that time. But it is our culture, and for us to have to argue with people over something that they did not want to have being associated with them until the last 20 years, it's total bullshit. And we just got to put the onus where it is, call people out on their bullshit, and just stand back and watch them be foolish. You don't argue with a fool because you look like a fool. You just give them the truth and walk the fuck off. And a lot of people rather argue instead of walk off, drop the mic and get the fuck out of there, because then you look dumb arguing with an idiot who don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And to the older gentleman's point, because I don't want to stay too long, we talk about how people want to erase us out of history. I went to school for education, and I'm gonna tell you what they put in one of the books that I read for my degree. It said that Black people are 5 years behind Caucasians. So white people have to learn slang to catch us up to where we're supposed to be, because an 8th grade FBA is equal to a 3rd grade Caucasian American. Now, with that understanding, they believe, the people who write these books and those people that's out there, they believe they can say and do anything, and we're just going to be okay with it. That's why I applaud that gentleman in the conversation, because through ignorance, we prove them right. Through insightful conversation and knowledge, we fight back against stupidity. And that's all I ask, is that we fight, and it's baseless to fight an argument that's already been proven by how they treat you, me, economically and demographically, geographically. That's all I'm saying.
I'd like to jump in on that point. I agree 100% with what the brother just said, but I do think that we need to separate. When we're having a hip hop conversation, we're talking about one element of Black American culture, a Black American pop culture. I think we do it a disservice when we then start, fighting or arguing against our own point, and then muddy the waters and talk about broader things. Those broader things are conversations that we can have on other panels, but when we're, speaking against and defending what we created, and we shouldn't muddy the water and say, yeah, but the bigger picture is this, and no. This is the picture right now. They're trying to take and erase hip hop from us, and we're not having it. Once we put that to bed, and we've done it a million times, I don't even know why it's still an issue, but as long as it's an issue, we're going to keep defending it. But then we can walk and chew gum at the same time. So then we can have the political conversation, the education conversation, the real talk about Black mediocrity versus Black excellence and the difference between the two. But we can walk and chew gum at the same time. That's all I'm saying.
I agree, but
that's what shows you it's not about hip hop, dog. That's what shows you this is not about hip hop. This is about power.
I agree, but check this out. If hip hop truly is a culture, you're going to have all those conversations in the one thing. Because if we believe in the 5 elements of hip hop, right? Rapping is talking, dancing is expression, so is art. Art is a documentation of history. B-boy and beatboxing, you have all that, right? It's going to go into those other realms of conversation, because that's what culture is. Culture is not only what you do, it's your religion, not your faith. It's your religion, how you praise, how you walk, how you make yourself relevant to economics. It's going to go into all those things. So like I was saying before, people call hip hop a culture and don't really understand the depth of what being called a culture means. And we say we just talking about music and not this and not that. Then you're delineating from your culture. You're taking away from it. And that's a danger that unfortunately has been put on us, because people don't want us to exist. And that's been my major fight with even making this platform that I have in the first place.
Hey, let me ask y'all something, yo. Who's the unanimous spokesperson for Black people?
You can't hear you, Logic.
Who is the unanimous spokesperson for Black people? Who's the one Black person that can speak for the opinion of all Black people? There isn't one, right? There's no one. So does hip hop unanimously speak for all black people then?
No, obviously not.
So when you say it's all black people's culture, I mean, what do you mean by that? I think we conflate a whole lot of different things to try to put something where it doesn't need to be, right? And what we're really trying to do is, at least what I'm trying to do, is I'm actually trying to elevate the conversation. So y'all want to condense it and box it into something that looks like this isn't about social issues and political issues. Well, I guess I'm more so talking of Knockmeezy. I ain't gonna say y'all. I'm talking about Knockmeezy right now. So you're trying to have a conversation where it's condensed into this small area that you're calling hip hop, but you're referring to social and political issues. And that's why I'm trying to bring the conversation into let's talk about social and political issues and stop acting like that's not what we're ignoring. See, I have this concept that when we do these things, right, we are becoming what I call the non-active activists, right? We are trying to participate in a different arena through our conversation. Then if it was that serious, why are we doing it on here? Why isn't your fight out here in the world? Why is it on YouTube? That's confusing to me. Very confusing.
Well, let me clear up some of your confusion, brother. What I'm saying is we don't need to mix the two. Hip hop is hip hop. It's ours. It's a part of Black American culture. It's not the totality of Black American culture. And the other brother from New Jersey, you know, he started putting his own mix on what culture is. What culture is the ideas, customs, and social behavior of a particular people or society. You know what I'm saying? That includes music. So when we're having a music conversation, keep it to music. When we want to have a broader conversation, we can do that, but at a time when people are trying to take us out of one aspect of our culture, pop culture, which has been embraced by the world, is now in the Olympics. And we just saw a website that had a whole bunch of Puerto Rican representation with a Puerto Rican owner and these weird donors. You see it in real time, the erasure of Black Americans out of something that Black Americans created. Now, to the brother Logic, when it comes to the broader conversation, we can always have the broader conversation. As far as activism is concerned, I mean, we could shoot the activism fade right now. I only see an Olmec head, brother. Can you show yourself? Are you an activist? Are you an activist in the streets?
We shooting activism fade?
Well, I'm asking you, are you an activist? Because you brought up activism.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, what's your work? What are you doing in the streets?
I participate.
Huh?
I said, yeah, I participate.
No, but what's your work though? Because we're gonna shoot this activism fade right now, and you about to catch these hands. Let's go.
I vote.
Well, what's the name of your group?
I said I vote.
Oh, that's it? Oh, okay. That's easy. But I'm saying, what are you doing besides voting?
I just explained it to you. Deal with that.
Let me explain what I do then. Okay. Number one, my group is called 50 Deep. I'm in Black America. I'm in Europe. I'm in South America, specifically Suriname, and I'm in the Caribbean. It's my group. I created it. And it's a spin off of Tupac's tattoo of 50 niggas.
What's the agenda of your group?
Wait, hold on. Just listen, brother. Let me teach you something. Because you talk about activism when there's no action in your activism. You just up here yapping. You see what I'm saying? I work in a petrochemical. Hold on. I work in a petrochemical industry. I used to pay for brothers' training to get into it, and then it would flip to reimbursement. So what I do, I actually get brothers jobs, get brothers training, get brothers into trades that can't be replaced by computers. You understand what I'm saying? That's what I do. I got the receipts and everything, but I put them mostly on private. So anybody here that knows me knows what I'm about. So when we talk about this activism talk, I'm active for Black people worldwide and focused on Black Americans now. So when you talk about it, all you're doing is talking about voting. So what you up here doing is you just yapping, but you have no track record to back it. No track record. So now I'm gonna put it back on you. What are you doing besides yapping and voting?
I mean, I got you. I mean, this is exactly.
Tell me, what are you doing, old McHead?
Look, this is exactly where the conversation need to be at. We can ask each
other what we're doing. I don't want to talk. I want you to tell me what you've done.
This is a much better challenge.
I can tell you what I've done. My group.
You just explained
my group. Hold on. Let me put some more meat and potatoes to it, because you obviously haven't done anything. My group, with one other group in the Netherlands, has stopped the practice of blackface in the major cities here. And how we did it, we put hitters on the front lines. Okay, I organized that. So now I'm pushing back to you. What did you do? What did you do?
I mean, so I'm asking you. So you're a violent activist?
No. Wait. You see, now
no,
that's activism. Right? Let me explain to you.
That can be a form of activism. I know how to. Violent activist. Your plan could be take up arms. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, wait. See, but who said anything about arms?
I mean, if you said it, then you back down.
Wait, but I'm saying who said anything about arms?
Was y'all on the front line doing it or not?
Yes, absolutely. But hold on, I'm asking you again. Who said anything about arms? Did anyone say that about arms here?
You tell me how y'all started.
All right, cool. So again, you're just capping. See what I said? We put hitters on the front line. I'm talking about real strong black brothers who are down to stand on the front lines against racialized soccer hooligans that were terrorizing black communities out here. And the only people on the front line were women, until I, with the spirit of Black Americans, came out here and organized brothers to get out there and do what we had to do. And guess what? Not a punch was thrown because we even stood up there. They kept it moving. So again, you're talking to somebody that really does it. When I'm asking you what you do, you ain't do nothing, but you're just a contrarian, bro. You're just a contrarian.
Wait,
so
the only
on
people
the activism tip, you can't touch me, bro. Stop it.
Let him dig his hole, yo.
Go on. I'm done digging.
Hold
I'm passing it to you now.
Hold on. We're trying to have a dialogue. Hold on. We're trying to have a dialogue. So let Logic go, and then Rogish get in there.
We can find some common ground here.
Jesus.
How was black women fighting soccer? Black women was fighting soccer hooligans? What was the niggas doing?
Hooligans were pressing black women and hitting them with eggs while black men stood there looking sad. And this is a fact. This happened in Eindhoven.
Who are these black dudes? Where does that?
Well, this is in Europe. So a lot of the black dudes here they're like more Caribbean and African. The guy that I'm speaking about specifically is a Ghanaian activist out here. But he was moving from what they would do. They would co-opt Black American social groups like the Black Panthers, but then really didn't understand anything behind the Black Panthers. They just want to dress up like Black Panthers, and then it was getting mollywopped in real life. And the fact that women were standing on the front lines more so than the men, there was a problem. They became a target. You know what I'm saying? So I organized brothers just spamming people on Facebook, as a matter of fact, and then organized brothers met up with them. But that's only two months out of the year. The other 10 months out of the year, what are we doing? It ain't just about standing on the front line against hooligans. You have to actually do something economically and from an educational and a training standpoint to uplift black people here.
There we go.
You know what I'm saying?
How we
absolutely.
Find a way to do something economically without participating. Where we gonna get the money from?
Finding the common ground.
Common ground, yeah.
Was that a question?
Where we gonna get the money from?
Excuse me?
Yeah, where we gonna get the money from? How we gonna economically do anything without the money?
But you don't have money?
No. You're talking about some kind of economic movement, and I'm asking you how we gonna do an economic movement without getting the money. Where we gonna get the money from?
Well, there's Cameron said you can't get paid on an earth this big. You're worthless, kid. Nigga don't deserve to live. There's a lot of money out here. I can't tell you how to get money. I've been getting money, and I understand there is no black empowerment without strong black economics, which is why I focus on getting brothers trained and employed. and employed to the point where I'm telling them to be a Trojan horse, learn everything about whatever trade you jumped into, and then create your own shit, start your own company. See, this is what I'm about. But you about a lot of questions, bro. But what is your action?
Damn, I can't ask you no questions, bro.
No, but I'm saying you asking them, I'm answering them. But I want to know what you doing though, except just being a blabbermouth on YouTube. Contrarian.
You might not be satisfied with it. You might want me to do more, like go.
It's not what I want you to do, but you got a big mouth and you ain't doing nothing.
I mean, I'm doing enough for me, man. You know what I'm saying?
No. All right, great.
Let's get back to the topic.
You're Dr. Cologne number 2. Thank you.
Nah. Let's get back to the topic. And
actually, no, for real. I'm trying to keep it respectful. Okay. You know, knock Meezy is kind of getting loud. That's not really something I'm doing. All I did was ask him a question. You know what I'm saying?
You asked me a fed question about arms,
that
which
wasn't a fake
are
question.
illegal.
Didn't you say that y'all was stopping a fight? Would y'all just raise your voice? I mean, you could have just answered.
Well, then you would have to ask me, brother. You wouldn't ask me a fed question about, you're talking about arms. You know that's not nice. Why are you trying to get me locked up, brother?
I left again. I bet you ain't. All right, I have a question for both of you. Let's do this. Do you think this argument
I take it back
about hold on, who created hip hop is more relevant now because of the 50th anniversary? 50 years. So that means, and I'm not trying to lead the answers, but that would leave room for this argument to have happened and been happening for 50 years. Do you think it's more relevant now because of something an individual said, or because it's all also revolving around the 50th anniversary, the celebrations, the concert, the money to be made, the new albums, all of this shit? Do you think it's more relevant now because of that, or it was just bound to happen anyway? This type of argument about who created it.
That's just for them?
Or whoever.
No, I don't think it's just the I don't know. I was kind of shocked when I found out that KRS-One comment was old, like years ago. The way that it exploded and all across the net, you would think that he said it, in 2024, but that's an old comment, right? I had to. What you saying, Heritage? Go ahead, boss.
Nah, that was that one where he's in the room with the white background and the black coat. That was last month.
No. I'm talking about when he's in the classroom.
That was last month. I was in the class. I was in that class physically when he made that comment.
Oh, really? So yeah. Wait, so on previous shows, people were telling us that this was a conversation that he had years ago.
Nope.
But just back around.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
I was in the class. That was the KRS-One teaches a class. We have the Temple of Hip Hop in Newark, New Jersey, right? And that class was a 3-day event. And the first class was at 520 Cedric Avenue, where they had the first party where hip hop supposedly got started.
1520
Cedric Avenue, yes. So that conversation happened on the first day of the class, which was a Friday. You know what I'm saying? And he said that I don't even got the date to tell. I had I have the email from the class. I don't have the date, so I apologize for not having the date because we talk about facts and being factual, right? That comment he made with the 3 books that were on the screen, he was talking to the class and he was looking specifically at one person in the class when he was making that comment, but he addressed everybody. So when you see him do this, when you talk about Jamaicans, Black folks, and Puerto Ricans, and all of them, that's when he addressed the whole class. But it was last month. It was
okay. That's good to know.
Definitely.
But speaking to the speaking to the hip hop 50 conversation, I think that it's just something that is just gonna fire up every now and then because it's a culture conversation, and that's why I kind of like Logic's perspective, and not. That's why I don't want to have a hip hop conversation with you, because the more we talk about these hip hop conversations, I find that it's more of a cultural conversation. It's not really only about hip hop. It's more of like a a feeling that every time Black culture has something or wants to stake its claim to something, it's like a feeling of it being co-opted and things like that. So I kind of want to have that conversation, more of a cultural conversation, FBA conversation, AEOS and Latino conversation. But once again, you know, when you have when you have different races all on the panel, it becomes a race conversation, and we're not actually talking about the topic and the evidence at hand. And I think that's what spurs the conversations. That's why I try to keep it as least spicy as possible. That's why I'm so proud of my brother Truth Savior when he kept it classy earlier. Are you showing off Noah? Oh, that's not Noah. That's Brown.
I'm showing people 1520, right? Sedgwick Avenue, right? It's a building right here. There's your whole building. There's a space downstairs,
right
and there's a rec room.
It's to the right. Once you go in, it's to the right.
It's right in here. But if you look down, literally the throughway is right here on this side. So most people ride past this if you travel on the New York State Thruway and don't even realize it. And this
they had oh my bad.
No, go ahead.
Now I was about to say they had at the 50th anniversary, after they had the big show at Yankee Stadium the next day, which was a Sunday, they had a block party.
Yeah,
right
that means you would have to block off here, Sedgwick. You have to block it off down here, and you'd have to block it off up here. Yep. I think currently this tower here, I don't remember the gang, but there's heavy gang culture in this. That's a whole nother story. We ain't gonna do that. But here's 15. Look, they even called it what? Hip Hop Boulevard, 1520 Sedgwick Avenue. So when people hear these terms, it was born on a date at a place with a person and a dancer and a DJ and an MC. You're talking about a rec room down here. That's it. It's not a major hall. It's not even in a heavily condensed area, because again, right over here, over top of this mound, you have a major highway, and all the way up this road. This is the west side of the Bronx. Like as far as west you can go in the Bronx. The rest of the Bronx is from this direction to the left. But yeah,
Go ahead. I want to respond to something, man.
Yeah, I was definitely River Park Towers. That's where all the gangs are. That's
yeah.
Burnside all the way to the end, and you get to River Park Towers.
There you go. Hold on. Let me see. No, let's get out of Street View. Go ahead. My bad. I'm trying to get out of Street View. But again, you see all of these highways. If you can see the bottom left of my screen, this is right here.
My first concert ever in New York was in Queens. Then my next two was in the Bronx. So I rock with the Bronx.
That's 87 right here. Highway 87, Interstate 87. George Washington Bridge is right here. Most people who commute ride past that every day don't even realize it. Don't care, don't know. It's so inconspicuous. It looks like another tower. I'm sorry, go up here. Or building on the left, north or south. It depends on which way you're going. So if you're going south, it would be on your left. If you're going north, it would be on your right. So that's 1520 Sedgwick. This right here. George Washington Bridge, 87, Morris Heights. This is Manhattan. We'll do the map stuff another day. But let's jump back into what Logic was saying. And
right.
I want to clear something up with Logic too, because he made a statement earlier, and this is not to contradict. I think he read something that said hip hop was born in a time of blah, blah, blah. Social stress, economic decline, post Vietnam War, all of that stuff. Like those things created hip hop. No, you still live no matter what's going on. You still dance no matter what's going on. You play music no matter what's going on. You eat food, you wear clothes. They're just telling you what else was going on around that time. Those things didn't create hip hop. You're talking post-war. People had to go to war. The earlier people, and I think somebody said that earlier, Truth Savior. when one of their not Flash and the Furious, I think it was Flash and the Furious 5, one of their members had to go to war. So they said that's where the hippity hop came from. Yeah, you about to go over there and do the hip hop, left, right, all of that stuff. So those are things that are going on. They didn't create it. Like no one said, oh, there's nothing for us to do. Let's go create hip hop. Let's go dance. Let's go play records. Let's go dress. Let's talk. Let's go spray paint on walls. Those are things that are going on in every culture. Right now, we're post-COVID. Literally post-COVID. Something new is happening in music, in movies, in dance, in language, everywhere. COVID didn't create that. Now, if you say Instacart blew up because of COVID, or Uber Eats because people had to get food delivered, that's different. But it's still culture. It's not adverse from anything that was people were doing. Go ahead.
So when I think of Black culture in America, I think resilience, right? I think of people who show an unbelievable special amount of resilience, right? I see you see it as a continuation of maybe things that people might have been doing in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. And I might see that same direct line. I might be able to take it all the way back to the cotton fields of the South. I might be able to draw a line, where we have a conversation where we ask each other, man, when are we gonna be free? And the answer is it ain't looking too good, but let's sing a song. Let's figure out how we can get our way through this, right? And for some magical reason or what have you, our way of expressing it is through music, right? That this is where we find our comfort. This is where we find our expression, and that's incredible, right? That's ours. That's definitely a part of the Black American experience. I mean, that's something that we uniquely share. But I feel like when, I think there's a level of profoundness that we fail to uncover when we don't see that particular connection, right? When we don't realize that it is a continuation of see my humanity, right? See the humanity in us despite our circumstances. The same as those old slave hymns. Not much different, in a lot of different ways, right? And then, so I think with that, we come into having this conversation in this internet culture where people find it comforting as well to dismiss humanism, right? To dismiss the ability to be able to see the humanity in other people. And we find solutions in those type of things. Martin Luther King is a humanitarian. You have other great people who participated in the civil rights movement that were humanists, who were able to see the good in other people, as well as other demographics of people. And those are the people and those are the ideologies that I look around and I can find results in. I can see the manifestation of that ideology. And I think that that's something that we unfortunately miss out on as we are hung up on we miss out on the depth of the conversation that I feel like we should be having.
But if it's something you do every day, even if you're an activist, you got to eat, right? You have to wear clothes. I'm sure there's a time that you spend with your family and your friends. You may listen to certain kind of music. You may watch certain type of shows. You're still a human. I think in your mind, because someone is talking about hip hop, that they're trying to, they're taking away from other activism. We're talking about culture. You live culture. You don't necessarily have to do it. You wake up, you eat a certain kind of food, you talk a certain kind of way, you dress a certain kind of way, you enjoy certain things. That's your culture. That's not something you try to do necessarily. It's just what you do.
Here's one for one of the rare times. Let me cut you off. I just agreed with you there. I literally just said that our black culture, we could trade that back to the cotton fields when we've expressed see my humanity through music.
But no. That's a demonstration to other people. See my humanity. I know I'm a human. I don't have to demonstrate that. I breathe, I sleep, I eat, I smell, touch, and taste. That's what makes me a human. Now, what you're talking about is showing other people they do the same things that I do. We're the same. You eat, you sleep, you breathe, you smell, touch, and taste. That's what you're talking about. A demonstration to other people. But even without demonstrating, you still have to do those things. Period. Like you're going to do that. So if I'm listening to James Brown, to bring it back to hip hop, it's not going to change because people are around me. Either I'm going to listen to what they're listening to, or they're going to listen to what I'm listening to. If I go outside, young people know this, right? And I'm dressed a certain way and you're dressed a certain way. Either I'm going to start dressing like you, or you're going to start dressing like me. I'm going to start talking like you, or you're going to start talking like me. And in most times, the dominant culture is what you adhere to. So if you use hip hop, you would have way more Spanish rappers by name. Julio Gonzalez, he would be a rapper, not JG 1000. You would have way more music that's Caribbean if you want to go down that lane. That's more ska, reggae, any of that based. It would sound like that. Clothing, you would dress like them. Why? Because those are distinct and current cultures. If you go to Jamaica, you can't talk Jamaican. You can't put that accent on. Sorry. You can't. But a Jamaican can come here, talk to you just like I'm talking to you with some practice, and then a minute another Jamaican is around them, put that accent on, and you would be surprised, like, oh shit, didn't know that. They were looking at Prince Whip a Whip in a video earlier on Smash's channel. He has an afro. Charlie Chase's hair is more straight. They was like, how come Charlie Chase ain't trying to be black? His hair is straight. Whip a Whip's hair is curly, like, you know, like black people hair, you can say. So Charlie Chase can't fake it, but he dresses black. He talks black. He plays hip hop music, black music. He changed his name to DJ Charlie Chase. He said that I can't go outside with my government and just put a ism on the end. Juan-ism. And there's very few that keep their real name. Tito from the Fearless Four is one of them. Ruby D. Whip a Whip, that doesn't sound Puerto Rican. Tito, yes. He's from the Fearless Four. Charlie Chase, Puerto Rican. Cold Crush Brothers, they had him mixed up with the Fantastic Five. So there's Fat Joe. Is it Fat Jose? Nah.
That's not Fat Jose.
It's not. It's not going to be.
No, I get that. I mean,
so that's all I'm saying. So sometimes, even though they say, oh, the Bronx is all of these people mixed up. Yeah, someone's going to end up looking or talking or dressing like somebody else. It all ain't going to work. Herc said it. Herc is really tall. He stands out. If he wore what he wanted to wear, he said it, they would laugh at him. Coca La Rock not only was his MC, Mike Holder, not rapper, MC, two different things. Nah, man, you can't dress like that. Can't play that music. I'm gonna take you to they went to the Hevelo. They used to dance at the Hevelo. So Herc had a choice, right? Either I'm gonna talk and act like African Americans, or I'm gonna talk or act like a Jamaican, which he was. Which did he choose? Look at his pictures.
No, I totally get you. You hammering it home, right? So like, so you know, I think of a scenario. Okay, pause. Big major pause. But
Don't listen to Brass, y'all.
I
Brass is
no, he
what
I
father is
ain't
it?
even
Hold
say
on, hold on,
nothing.
hold on. Oh, my
it
bad.
threw
I
me off.
should be reading the
But
chat.
look,
My
so like
bad,
I
y'all.
think of a scenario. I think of a scenario like, let's say I'm a black man. I learn how to speak Spanish and I like dance. I like salsa dancing on the weekends. Does that make me participate in Spanish culture, or am I a black man that learns how to speak Spanish and does salsa on the weekend? I think it's like
Here's the equivalent.
I'm
No, no,
50,
no, no, no. Here's the equivalent. If
I'm
you
50.
said I went to a salsa party
Mm-hmm.
and all they had was congas, but I bought a kick drum. That's the big round drum in the drum set, y'all. You bought a
Mm-hmm.
kick drum and started playing with them, and then
Mm-hmm.
you left, and then told everybody you created salsa with them kicks.
I ain't saying
They're gonna be
like
like,
it was
hold on.
crazy.
First of all, you showed up. You was looking crazy. You bought a
I ain't
kick
saying it
drum.
crazy.
Yeah. We
No,
told
not
you
yeah,
how to
that's
play
crazy.
salsa with your kick drum, and
That
now
would
you're gonna
absolutely
go
be
tell
crazy.
the people that you created salsa.
That'd be
Like
crazy.
it's
Even if you went to the club and you know what I'm saying, you did your thing and you had the people in there dancing, you still wouldn't have the right to say that you created anything in there, right? You know what I'm saying? Like
yes.
you might have just, you know, showed out one night and you know the party was still jumping with your music, but that ain't you creating nothing. I get you. I'm
Yeah.
with you. You know, and you know,
But fortunately for you, Logic, though, if you look through our history, and I put up the timeline on another show, our music was popularized on radio, on vinyl, on television. Our dances went through the same process. How we dressed, our activism, even when they were spraying people with water hoses, even when they were redlining people, and they had the Jim Crow era with the black and white. So even the struggle was well documented. You don't need to leave that timeline for influence for nothing that you would call hip hop, right? We're gonna leave graffiti to the right because writing on a wall, some people, oh, that goes way back. But let's talk about the core elements: dancing, music, singing or rapping. You could add how you talk, your vernacular, all that good shit. You don't need to leave the timeline. It's well documented. You would have to show Caribbeans going through the same thing here. You would have to show Puerto Ricans, Panamanians, Dominicans, all going through it here, documented right next to you. That you would, you know, their culture is so intertwined with ours. So you can live next to somebody and have your own culture. Anybody who lives in New York or around New York City, you know that. You can go on the street. Someone said if you go down to the lower, actually in Queens, you got Chinatown, Queens, Long Island area, where all the signs are written in. I don't want to fuck it up. Maybe Chinese or Mandarin. Literally the signs. Ain't no English signs in certain places. You got Little Italy. You got places where Polish people are prevalent. All living right next to each other, community-wise, not building to building. And they still maintain their culture. Puerto Ricans, Dominicans. Don't get them fucked up. Don't get Jamaicans and Haitians fucked up. Or you'll get fucked up. That's easy.
I mean, I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you.
So people can coexist, neighborhood to neighborhood, even door to door sometime, and still maintain what they know to be their culture.
So watch this. Let me ask you this then, right? See, like you know,
in closing though, we gotta close up.
Okay.
In closing,
okay. The biggest thing that reading about it has revealed to me is that I see it. You know, this concept come up a bunch of times where they describe hip hop as a movement as well as a culture, right? It's a movement about self-expression and self-empowerment, and I think that captures, I think, the whole spirit of what is actually going on in a bigger totality, where when you take it beyond what does it mean besides the music. Would you agree with that?
That's other people's use of it. But if that's what you do, like when I turn my camera on, what you see behind me is a 40-year journey, them turntables, right? But me and my friends grew up, some of them spray painted. We all used to break dance. Some of us rapped. I couldn't rap, not with my nasal voice, right? So we all could participate in that. But as it gets commercialized, popularized, you could put that sticker on anything. You could put that on AI right now. They're going to say, "Oh, it's the greatest." Some people don't even know what that is. Clean energy. Those are all initiatives. Global warming, right? People who are activists for to make climate change something real, right? Which it is. But people will fight for that. Once somebody else gets a hold of it, and that's what we had. The question was earlier: is it the term hip hop, or is it the actual functions of hip hop? Like what people are doing. Like you could practice hip hop in your house, not be an activist, not be on a McDonald's commercial, have a stadium, a 50th anniversary for shit you doing. So now it's to the point, it's 50 years, Logic, to their date. 50 years. They can make it whatever they want now. Basically, it's rap now. That's it.
We far enough away.
They made it rap.
Away from the origins to say that.
Yeah.
Now, the last thing I'm gonna say, Brad. Last thing I'm gonna say.
No. What I'm gonna do is in closing, go ahead and start closing, and then I want to have a conversation in the back chat real quick.
I'm gonna close. I'm gonna be real short with it, man. I just feel like we're missing something. This is from an interview with Kool Herc that he had. And it reads, right? He was having a conversation with the person interviewing them, and they was asking about, how did he get into DJing? And his response, right? One of his responses was, I would like to say music was not about the black thing. It was a we thing. This is what Kool Herc say.
Who's the we?
I mean, when he preferences, when he puts the black thing in front of we, well, he has to not be talking about only black at that point. He's talking about black and some other we. So whatever the other we is clearly means it is not only black. That's what a statement is. I feel like we're missing something here.
No, you hold Herc in high regard. Here's what I hold in bigger regard. Just share my screen. Timeline of African American music. The evolution of African American music from the 1600s to the 2000s. So you could find a little spot in here for Herc. Good luck for Bambaataa and or Flash, or DJ Smokey, or DJ Pink Jones, or Mario. You can find a space for all them in here, teeny tiny, in the timeline of African American music. And I'm good.
All right. Anybody else want to say anything in closing before I close the show? Shouts to all the new members of the Discord. Heritage, I'm gonna hit you up tomorrow. Knockmeezy, I'm gonna hit you up tomorrow also. Anybody else want to say anything in closing? I'm just looking at the Discord, looking at some of the stats. We went up 14 subscribers, a lot of good views, a lot of good comments. Heritage, I appreciate you for coming up, boss, and your patience. I notice little weird things, not just information, but the fact that, when somebody could, you stop, let somebody speak. I appreciate stuff like that. Knockmeezy, got anything before we go? If not, I'm gonna close out.
Yeah, I gotta be out. Go get this money. Where are we gonna get the money from?
Hey, don't be no stranger, man. Pull up so we can have this conversation.
I mean, I don't know if you still want to have it. I already proved you ain't doing nothing in the real world but voting. And like Joe Biden said, if you don't vote for Joe Biden, you ain't black.
Nah, we always down for conversation.
I'm gonna pull up. I appreciate y'all. I like chopping it up.
Stop the soccer moms from getting beat up. I'll commend you.
No doubt.
So this is how we go close. Wow. This is how we go close. All right, I love y'all.
I want to close in unity. You know what I'm saying? I want to close.
I still respect. That was fine.
Yeah. So you said you protect the soccer moms, but I respect you.
No. Wait, he's a little salty. I mean, I want to close your respect. You know what I'm saying? He mad because he ain't doing nothing in the streets. You know what I'm saying? Soccer moms are not. The only thing he came with was a big fat zero. Like, I vote, but he want to talk this Malcolm X talk.
You can't vote over
nothing.
here, man. That ain't no big fat zero. That's
come on, brother.
That's
get your internet
He's
right.
trying to close the unity, and
talking
you
about
just
black
you
empowerment.
Hold on, y'all supposed to be close. Hold on. We're gonna try it again. Close out, and for the record, Logic is my big brother. So if you guys smoke with Logic, anybody, you guys smoke with me. I got time for it. All right, now close out on respect.
All right, and I'll bid this platform adieu on that. If we're gonna shoot the fade, wait, hold on. If we're gonna shoot the fade and brothers are shooting the fade, me and Logic, we good. You know what I'm saying? This is in the spirit of Black American snapping and all of that. I have no ill will toward this brother.
I know. I'm just
fucking. No. This is all comedy. It's just late in the night, and I can't wait to do that show. I'm telling you, it's gonna be a good show. We're gonna put it together. We're gonna state a premise and put together a good presentation. But I love y'all. I'll call you tomorrow, Knock Measy. I'll email you tomorrow, Heritage. Hey, it's been another good one. Over 140 in the live. Love y'all, bro. Y'all have a good one.